Hey there, StarCraft fans. We're back with Group B of StarCastTV Star League Season 2. As you can see, this time around, we've got Sharp, Motive, Shine, and KOP facing off versus each other. I think, like in most groups, there's two clear favorites. This time it's going to be Sharp and Shine. But you know, last season, KOP had a good showing. He actually had really good games. And even though he ended up being eliminated, I think he got eliminated 2-1 versus a really strong opponent. So I'm looking to see how well he can perform this tournament. Motive, you know, I'm actually not very familiar with Motive. I had to look him up on Wikipedia before this cast started. Saw he was part of KT Rolster, also part of KT Rolster in StarCraft 2. But admittedly, I don't remember seeing him play back in the day. I looked him up on Seawall to see what his AKAs are. One of them is Wangtube. I've seen him play versus Artosis a couple times. I immediately opened up my own replays to see if I had played him. I've never played him, so I'm not too sure exactly of his style, but I do have high hopes for him. Maybe he can pull off an upset here. Just as a complete aside, look at Sharp's face in this photo. I'm moving my head left to right and he's still staring at me, man. Like, chill out, Sharp, chill. So we're going to be getting into the bracket now. And we're going to look at what our tournament groups are. We've already gotten through Group A. Group C is going to be next. Well, after today, I mean, Hero, Paralyzed, Sok, and Hyun. That's a pretty stellar group. Hero always goes far. But then, of course, we've got our champion in Group D, Snow. Tengu, you know, an up-and-coming Terran, made it into the ASL. Didn't get the result he wanted, but that was a really tough group for him. I, of course, have hopes for Snow in any tournament he plays. He's just so good these days, especially after coming off of his Season 1 win where he went, what was it, like 11-1? Something absurd. But as I stated, this is Group B, so let's just look at our matchups for today. We will have Sharp versus Motive first, then Shine versus KOP. So two Terrans looking to make moves on this single Zerg and single Protoss. Will anybody make an upset? Let's find out by getting into game one, Sharp versus Motive. And our first map is going to be One and Only Retro. Okay, in the top left, we do have our yellow Protoss. It is Motive. And then in the bottom left, we have Sharp. Now, Sharp has been doing quite well recently. In fact, a lot of them have him going pretty far in the current ASL season. I would tend to agree. I think Sharp is on his game these days. He's been performing quite well. You know, in the match that they had for ASL to replace Effort, he ended up winning it. So, do have high expectations for him. As far as Motive goes, as I mentioned, not very familiar with his game. Is he someone like Sins that's in your face all the time? I kind of doubt it, but I don't know if he's an aggro player or if he's a big-time macro player. But as far as aggro play goes, this is going to be an aggro opener. This should be forward gate, but instead that probe is going for an instant scout. He is not going to find Terran in the first position. He's actually most likely going to find Terran last. So that's a bit unlucky for him. Pylon Scout really does hurt your opening timings quite a bit. And this will be a little bit of a lucky situation for Sharp. And there is that forward gate. Not going to double Scout. I think that would be crippling to go for a double Scout. Meanwhile, Sharp is going to put his barracks very close to the ramp. And whenever I see that, generally it means that it could be gasless. So that's what I'm expecting it to be here. But it's not going to be. It's actually going to be an 11 gas. And 11 gas is kind of the meta these days. I watch a lot of games from Light, you know, and Rush and Royal too. And they go not gasless, they go 11 gas. I would say at least 30% of the time. You know, in the olden days, 12 gas was like the go-to build. If you did anything else, you're kind of just a crazy person. But 11 gas, really, really strong these days. Get that Vulture out 4 or 5 seconds faster. Punish a 12 Nexus. Helps with defending versus early Zealot pressure. Almost no downside to it. Now, as I stated, this probe is going to find Terran last. And Terran is going to find Motive most likely last. So a bit of unlucky scout patterns for both sides. We're going to have the pesky probe try and pick off this SCV. If he could pick off the SCV, that would be fantastic. And he is going to see there is no Protoss here. Meanwhile, first Zealot is on the move, but factory coming down, depot coming down. I really like this factory depot racks positioning. You know, as a Terran player, I always kind of struggle to find a good positioning for the factory whenever I have a forward racks like this, because I don't want it to be too far away from my racks, but I also don't want it to be too far away from my command center. But with this, you're right next to the racks, it's right next to the depot, so you've got this double gap that you're seeing right here. And this one Marine, it said, just back off, bro. You ain't coming in here and doing no damage. And the Zealot has already lost almost all the shields. This Marine is hardcore. He doesn't care. He is not afraid of this Zealot, soon to be 2 Zealots. And behind this, I think actually Motive is going for a 3rd Zealot. I don't see a Nexus. I think the Cybernetics is just about to finish, so it's going to be a 3 Zealot opener. Worker counts are dead even. These 2 Zealots have done no damage. Now the 3rd Zealot could make it scary, because I don't think Sharp is expecting there to be this many Zealots, but the Vulture's already out because of the 11 gas. However, the Zealots are all already here, and he's going to have to micro for his life to get into that bunker. It's almost done, but not just yet. Bottom Zealot gets taken out. Second Zealot gets taken out. Look at that stellar micro from Sharp. First Marine gets in, second Marine gets in. Does not want to lose that Vulture. And he ends up taking out the Zealot also. So all 3 Zealots die. 2 Marines, I think, died. Forced out a 5th Marine. So overall, I would say that Terran definitely got the better end of the stick here. He's also going to get his Vulture out onto the map. But because Protoss didn't cut SCVs, I think he's still in an okay position. Nexus timing is identical to the command center. Now the question to me is, of course, what's the follow-up for Terran? You have so many options these days. A lot of players are rushing like a 445 Armory, a la Rush style. Some players going to starports, also Rush style. Some players go to fact, like Light, and some people, they just stay on one factory for a while and try and put some pressure down with a 1 fact, 1 tank, 1 Vulture Marine follow-up. And so far, what this looks like it's going to be is most likely 3 Vultures with some mines across the map, trying to just get some map control, make sure that Protoss doesn't get away with an instant 3rd base. But it doesn't seem like Sharp has committed to any particular tech just yet, and as I say that, second factory is coming down, so it is going to be high production from Sharp in the early game. I wonder if he'll try and make an attack. You know, Protoss had to build a lot of Zealots that did no damage, cut into their goon count, so he may be thinking that even though his second pack timing is going to be a little bit late, maybe he can still hit something before the Robo. Good positioning of the goons denies the Vulture in the center and also denies Scout onto the 3rd base. So for now, Sharp has no idea that this is actually 1 gate Nexus into Robo, not a greedy opener. First tank coming out, we've got the probes coming down, and in Motive's main, Observatory coming in. I think that's a 2nd gate for Motive also. So everything so far looks pretty standard to me. In Sharp's main, that's either a starport or an eBay. I'm pretty confident it's an eBay. I think going 2 fact into starport before an eBay seems a little risky. Also see another building in his main by the minerals. I'm going to guess that's an armory. It could also be an academy, but just based on how Terrence plays these days, where you rush armory, get the upgrades, or at least rush armory to get Goliath out, I feel like that's most likely the play. Now look at this, we've got 2 tanks, 4 Marines, like 3 to 4 Vultures as a follow-up, and he is going to try and make a move here. Remember, there is a goon on the right side at the 3rd base. There's also 3 goons in the main, so a lot of goons out of position here. He's probably under... Oh, Vultures sneak in, and they're going to be greeted with a few more goons, and I actually don't think this is going to do that much damage, but as I say that, Observer's not out, so these Vultures run in, get into the probe line. He's already sniped like 5 or 6. Gets 7 probes, and he's going to lose, what? Oh, he's actually going to run in again! These goons were slightly out of position, and now he's taking devastating damage. What was 7 probe kills is most likely going to shoot up into the teens. We're at 10, Maybe he... Oh, mine connection? Connects onto the goon, but doesn't kill anything. I'm pretty sure that was like 11 or 10 probe kills right there. So massive damage. Meanwhile, Armory is done. He's starting his +1 weapon upgrade. SCV was also here for some reason, and will scout the third base timing. He sees that it's basically done, so he knows that Protoss cut some units to go for this fast third base. Vulture has run in there, by the way, and is going to try and snipe a probe. I don't think he got anything. I guess he got one. But overall, really good damage from Sharp. Really limited the powering of Motive, and now Motive, I think, is actually in a little bit of trouble versus something like a 5 or a 6 fact +1 timing. He also opened up Observer, so that means he can't go for an instant counter with Reaver and try and punish the eco line of Terran. So overall, as a Terran player, I'm hoping Sharp puts down some factories and goes for a timing, and in response, hopefully, Motive can get a whiff of this and start flooding some gateways. There's the third factory right now. There's the support bay, as expected. This is going to be something like a 10-minute Reaver, but by then, you can see turrets are already up and in position, so I don't think that he's not going to find much success with a Reaver drop. I think he's going to kind of have to hope that he can go double Reaver and stall a push. Meanwhile, a couple more Vultures get taken down. Tank count is slowly ramping up to what seems like 5, okay. 4 Marines still left over, so even though there's no Goliath, at least not just yet, those Marines are going to help push back the shuttle, whether it runs into the main or if the shuttle tries to make a move on top of these tanks. Now the third and fourth gate going down for Motive. I still don't think he knows what's going on because I don't remember seeing the Observer actually go into Sharp's base. Right now it's kind of just hanging around the natural, so he's still not sure exactly what the follow-up is going to be. Now Sharp, he's kind of surprising me a little bit. A lot of players like Rush or Light, I think, would have just gone for the killing move after doing damage that he did, but instead, sitting at 54 SCVs, this is making me think he's going to take a third base. However, he is out on the map with a sizable tank count plus Vulture count, so maybe I'm wrong here. First shuttle and goon on the left side of the map. There's a couple more goons in the center. I think actually Sharp has made a mistake. This army from Protoss looks decently large, whereas Terran's, it also looks decent, but I think the Reaver and Zealot combo could deal devastating damage to that group of tanks, and there is the command center. So it is going to be a third base. He is positioning that command center like he's going to float it to mid-left. And this was I think a smart move from Sharp. If you move out like this, it forces Protoss to build units. Whereas if you're just sitting there, Protoss just powers like a madman, and you don't want that, right? So a good move out from Sharp, even though it doesn't really, do damage. It does force some more units. Also denied the fourth base at top right. Now he did also force a few pylons, but it was good defense from Motive there to prevent that from, prevent the Vulture run by getting in and getting some more damage. But so far, we got a slight supply lead for Motive. And that is going to be a 7 fact as a follow-up, also with the starport. The starport's a little late for +2, at least straight +2, I mean. So I think this is 1-1 into +2. Meanwhile, there's the double Reaver drop. Gets into the main, surprisingly. Big shot right there. I actually think he got hit twice. And those Scarabs are going to dud. So overall, it's okay damage, forcing the tanks out of position, but I don't think Motive has enough units to exploit something like this, right? Like, I don't think he's going to bust the natural while this is going on, so overall he gets 1 tank for like 5 or 6 Scarabs. I would say that's probably kind of like an evenish trade, sort of. Wow, that Vulture spotted that probe and immediately killed it. It's just, you're not getting that fourth base, man. But we've gotten to a point in the game where Protoss is up 30 supply, but my issue with Protoss is he's just on 3 base. He doesn't have much tech. I don't expect him to deny mid-left. I think the tank count is way too high. I think supplies are way too close for it to be denied. And Terran's going to get this third base up and running pretty much immediately. Oh, wow. He lost the Reaver. That's painful. A cute move with the probe also loaded up in the shuttle to try and immediately take that base. I've actually seen a couple players on the ladder make this move. So no shocker to see a pro try and pull it out. We'll take the low ground base as his fourth. But I am worried that that's not going to be a factor because Terran has so much production. He's going to max out so quickly. I imagine as soon as he's maxed, he's going. I think Protoss is on like 8 gate right now. So production is pretty decent, but you can see the Zealots don't have speed. I don't think there's a Templar Archive. I don't think there's a Stargate. And just to point out also at the third base, no gas for Protoss. So this is full-on Gateway Man. Not a lot of area of effect damage. No stasis, no storm. I am worried that this Terran army is just going to be unstoppable when it actually starts making a move out. Also, just now realizing Protoss doesn't have any upgrades. So this is going to be really rough for Motive. So many tanks at the left side. What do you do as Protoss? Like, you can't do much to Terran, so I think the only thing you can really do right now is just expand again, and that's exactly what he is doing. He's trying to take a 5th base. Well, it's not he's trying. He is going to take a 5th base. I guess the... Whoa, that's a lot of shuttles. 3 shuttles going to be going into the main, maybe? This eBay is going to get... Is he really going to go for it? I guess all the units were out of position at the third base, so he is going to make a move here. But we've seen this type of move often on Retro. Trying to get through this corridor is so difficult. Tanks on the top side come down. Good tank or good siege shots right there. There are a lot of tanks there, and there's a lot of Zealots. The Zealots could jump on these tanks at the top side. They are going to get on top of them, and this was actually a really good move from Motive. He's eliminating a lot of the tanks. He's not going to get into the natural, but he is going to get into the third base. And look at this. There's only 2 tanks left at mid-left. This base is going to be breached. Supplies have plummeted for Sharp here. And meanwhile, Protoss has exploded and base is up to 5 now. Reinforcements coming in. This may be a forced liftoff. Wow, 160 to 95. Sharp overcommitted defense up there. And now, Motive might actually just straight up win this game. I feel like the back of Sharp has been broken here. There's just so much stuff. He is running a little bit thin on the goon count, but there's no mines to retreat to. These tanks are going to die. Oh my gosh, did Motive really do it? So much damage. Forced lift. 15 minutes into the game. Terran's going to be mining out their main pretty soon. He has no units across the map to do any damage to the 4th and 5th base. He's doubling the supply. Is that a Reaver? If Reaver gets in, if that's a Reaver, I think the game's over. Into the main. Oh, there's Storm. He just completed his Templar Archive and goes for the Storm. Really great damage. And it seems, oh my god, look at the worker count, dude. 26 workers. To 71. Absolutely insane damage. And if you're Sharp, well, yeah, that sounds like a GG scan to me. That tank ends up dying. And I think if you're Sharp now, obviously you can't transition out of this. You just gotta go for it. You're down 45 workers, down, what is it, 70 supply. There's no way that you can actually try and play a game from here. He does have his triple command center, but I feel like if you land it, that's a complete mistake. He might as well just send every building he has floating in the air and have it soak up goon shots. Instead, he is building an eBay. I'm not sure what for, because this is not a game you can play out of. He's laying so many mines here, but there's really no army. It's 3 tanks, 4 tanks. What is it, 8 vultures and 3 Goliaths? Motive, he could crush this at any point. More units being streamlined from Sharp's main. This is his one moment to try and make something happen. There's no way that this can transition into a late game, and he knows it. So here he comes. He is down 80 supply, 40 worker differential, so I guess it's technically just 40 supply and army. Shuttle gets immediately picked off. That's a great start for him. Zealots get immediately focused down, and again, he's attacking in a corridor, but the Storm, really good. Takes down all the tanks, and this should be it. So Motive, who I thought was in a really bad position, all of a sudden, in an instant, finds the opening, and he's going to take game 1. versus Sharp. Man, that's got to be painful for Sharp right there. I really do think he was in a killer position, but I did notice he left a little bit of an opening at the third base. He only built one depot at the ramp. I guess he didn't want to completely wall off because he wanted to have access going for an attack at top left quickly instead of completely walling off and having to go through the center. But because of that, forced to put so many tanks up there just to defend, left him completely exposed at the natural, and Motive capitalized in an instant. And that means we actually have Motive in the winners match, which is a little surprising because I think Sharp is really playing top notch these days. So let's get into game 2 now. Our second match will be Shine versus KOP. This is going to be another interesting matchup, not just because Shine is a aggressive player, but also because last season KOP played really well. So I wonder what he's got planned for someone like Shine. Again, we're going to be going into retro. We're getting the replay ready for us right now. And he is ready, so let's get into game 2. Can we have another upset? Could we have potentially Motive versus KOP in the winners match? So, in the top left, our Terran player, it is KOP. And meanwhile, in the bottom right, I don't think this guy really needs any introduction. It is Shine. Every single season of ASL, he's in there, man. And he's always at least round of 16. Often makes it into the round of 8. He's got a bag of builds, as they say, but can also play macro quite well. Whenever I do see Shine play, I always am very, very focused on his drones in the beginning because he will 4-pool you. He is not afraid to go for a move like that, but this game, not going to be a 4-pool. I don't actually think he's going to go for a 9-pool either. I think that this is most likely going to be 12 hatch. And one of the things that I like about Shine is he is one of the few players that does play 3 hatch a decent amount of the time. So it's not like this is, oh, it's a 12 hatch, we're going into 2-minute extractor, 2-minute pool like everybody else does. We could have 3rd hatch in the main, we could have 3rd hatch at another base, but instead, this is going to be an overpool. So he must be thinking that, hey, KOP, maybe he's going to whip out an 8 racks. I want to blind counter it. But we actually see KOP going for a wall here. Wall is the meta these days, and it makes me proud to see that a lot of Terran players are bringing it back. It's like there's almost no downside to it. Like it's just crazy how strong it is. And even though this wall actually looks weird and you're thinking like, hey, those Marines are going to pop out on the bottom side, this wall, in fact, has Marines pop out on the left side in the safe area of this position, which was news to me because I only found out about this a couple weeks ago, and as soon as I saw it on Royal Stream, I immediately copied it. It's fantastic. But look at this. In the Terran main, there is going to be gas, and this is going to be some type of tech opener. This is not a one-base academy rush type of opener or a gas opener. This is going to be a factory, and I guess the question now is this 1-1-1? Is this factory into expansion? Is this 2-port Wraith? Or could this be a 2-factory Vulture Goliath build? I think I've only seen really one player successfully pull that type of move off, the 2-fact on one base, and that's Flash. So I actually don't expect that, but I could see 2-port Wraith. Oh, not going to happen this time. It is actually going to be factory, probably Starport into Command Center, but he is going to intercept these Lings, and he will actually survive. I think that's a mistake here, because now KOP, okay, well, he needs to kill this SCV. You do not want to let the SCV get in and see the gas timing. Now KOP is going to know that this guy actually went for a 3-hatch opener. So despite not getting into the main, he will at least have intel on what this is. Now, the Lings, okay, because I am not in this position that often, first off, not getting top left that often, and second off, it's not often that Zerglings rush my base. I'm not sure if the Lings actually got deep enough up against that depot to spot the command center. So he may not realize that this is actually 111. Or, yeah, 111. But it actually is. There's the starport. Vulture is out. And now, of course, with the Vulture out, he's going to know. Okay, now he comes in, and now I'm pretty sure he... Oh, maybe he didn't, actually. Okay, he sees it now, but it's really late. It is really late, so he's going to know that this was a tech opener, and you can see he immediately runs away because he knows the Vulture is coming. But he's not going to get away in time. These Lings are going to be 100% dead. Trying to split off a couple of them just to save as many as possible. And what's he going to do with this Vulture? I think that's a Hydroden. Yep, Hydroden and Colony coming down at the natural. Very normal response. Lair coming down for Shine also. Now, Shine is well... Oh, what? A bunker? That seems risky. And that's why. Immediately killed off. I think if that was a full health SCV, I think that's a smart move. But with it only being at 15 health, that's quite ballsy. So the bunker is going to be denied. Wraith is going to be coming out. Seems like this could be speed or mines on the Vultures. I don't think there's really a set upgrade with this particular build. Some players go for mines to prevent Hydras from killing them. Some players go for speed to go for Vulture run by. So this could be either one. Wraith is going to pop that Overlord and Spire as a follow-up for Shine. So the Hydrogen, just to make sure that the Vultures don't do much damage, and of course this single Wraith. But he is going to follow up with, whoa, that's a very far forward Overlord, and all of a sudden, this is going to be a pretty big supply block. Shine is, even though he's only lost a couple units, this is going to be big damage. Another Overlord going down. This is going to allow KOP to really run away in terms of eco. He's got his science facility coming down also. So he's actually going to be going into 111 with Vessel. eBay, I'm pretty sure that's an eBay. I don't think that's a second factory. So this should be something like a 4 or 5 racks follow-up. And so far, I'm really liking KOP's build. He ended up going mines this time, give map control, like I said. Not going to be using those Vultures to run by, get drone kills, at least not just yet. Scouts the Spire timing, and seeing that the Spire is only 75% done, he's going to probably be able to get out a Science Vessel with Irradiate by the time the Mulus get across the map. So overall, this feels like just an amazing opener for KOP. As a Terran fan, I'm hoping that there's nothing catastrophic that happens that ruins his build, because this just really feels like this is where you want to be as Terran. Like you've hit a solid opener. Now you just need to go into the mid game while continuing to produce your Marine Medic. And I think it's going to be really hard for Shine to stop. We'll see what he comes up with, because I don't think Mutas are going to win him the game. I think he needs to start considering already going Hydra Lurker, because I feel like that's going to be his only answer to this incoming Marine Medic, mass irradiate, a couple tank follow-up. However, first 5 units moving across the map, that is a immediate Queen's Nest. I mean, that's pretty damn fast. 7-minute Queen's Nest for how this game has opened. So he's going to be rushing into Hive really quickly. First vessel is sitting in the main, waiting for those Mutas to overstep their bounds. I think by now he should have 75 energy. Marines are in position at the turret. I did notice that the Academy was late. Oh, there's the vessel. And he will get the vessel that just popped. So at least he gets the fresh vessel. He will take actually not that much damage on his Mulus, because that was a really good split. I would say that went about as well as it possibly could have gone for Shine. In fact, I think that was a favorable trade for him, because at least he got the new vessel. So that's great for him. But what I was going to say was the Academy was a little bit late. Well, it's not late for this build, but late in terms of when the Mutas got across map. So there's no stem, no ranges yet. And crews are pointing out the 2 SCVs on the gas. So that could come back to bite KOP in this game. Hopefully he can fix that. But first tank is already out. Generally, Terrans wait for about 3 tanks to make a move. And this is going to be a very, very strong army once that 3rd tank comes out. 5 racks is going to be completed. The vessel, is that a fresh vessel? Oh, that was actually the old vessel, and the fresh vessel gets taken out. So now, this is all of a sudden a pretty decent position for Shine. He got all 3 vessels. It only got off 1 irradiate. The incoming attack is still going to be very strong for KOP because he still has 3 tanks. But losing the irradiates is massive, and he scans the natural and he sees Greater Spire. So there's going to be nothing really to deal with these Guardians. Yes, he's going to have Marine Medic, but look at the gas that Shine has. He's going to be able to build like 12 Guardians here, and there's no Irradiate, there's no Wraith. The tanks obviously don't help. This is going to be a really tough hold for him. That SCV that's by the science facility, I'm hoping that that was not for a second starport and he forgot to build it. Okay, it looks like he did forget to build it. Now he's putting down a second starport. But I heard another scan go off. And by the way, actually there's an Ultraless Cavern in the main of Shine. So this could be like a mind game going on where he shows the Greater Spire, but he's actually going to be going Ultras, because I did see he got an Evolution Chamber in his main relatively quickly. +1 weapon for Terran is done. But I actually think that +1 armor could be done for Zerg. So upgrades could be even. Second eBay coming in. And this is definitely going to be a bio game. Like, it's not going to be a mech switch now that we've seen the second eBay. But it doesn't seem like KOP has scanned the main. So he really does think that this is going to be going to be Guardians. But it's actually Ultras. +1 armor being pointed out as completed for for Zerg. Guardians coming in, but I actually think that these are defensive Guardians. I don't think he's moving across the map with this. I think he's saying, hey, if you want to attack this third base, you're going to have to come up a ramp into Guardians. If you want to attack the natural, you're going to have to deal with Guardians over the ledge. And that's just going to be a nightmare to deal with. And KOP, he is not going to be dissuaded from this move. He's going to make a move towards the third base, but this is going to be really hard to get up that ramp, especially with only 1 vessel. There are no lurkers though, but I don't think you even need lurkers for this. I think Sunkens buy you enough time. I think Guardians with their massive range can pop the tanks. And here they come. Vessel is not going to get intercepted just yet, and I think you just got to run, man. This is not going to work out. He's going to try and focus down some of these tanks. There goes 1 Marine, 1 tank, goodbye. Oh, did he step out a little bit too far? A single Irradiate comes down. But the rest of the Guardians, well, 1 of them gets taken down. But even just 4 surviving, I think is enough to keep Terran back. And in fact, it is. He will get a couple of straggler Marines. Now, I see a base at top right being taken. Another scan goes down. I think at this point, KOP may be wondering, like, well, 6 Guardians, it wasn't that many. So where's your gas actually going? I'm not sure if he actually scanned the natural and saw Ultras, but we see that there are 5 already out, already with +3 armor. So these Marines are not going to be hitting that hard. In fact, I think KOP needs to get off the map. +1 versus +3 is not exactly the most ideal situation for you as Terran. That move out from KOP to top right did a good job denying the 4th base. Also left a Marine up there to spot for another potential take of the top right base. However, dropship coming out, okay, but it's going to get immediately spotted by a Ling, and the SCV gets taken down, so that's not great for KOP. But look at this, he's got a couple more dropships at his not spotted by the Ling also, so he knows that there are multiple dropships coming. This drone at top right has still not been taken down. It's kind of awkwardly just moving everywhere, trying to save its life. Bottom left ends up getting taken by Shine in response. And a single dropship is headed that way also, so we're going to have a multi-prong attack. Drop in the main, drop at bottom left. The Ling at mid left is not going to spot that drop, and meanwhile, there's a decent amount of army in the middle of the map for Terran. There's the drop, and gets immediately killed. Unloads 1 Marine, so that was a complete fail. However, the drop at bottom left, I think, is going to do good damage. It's going to deny this base. I don't think he can get here in time. Yeah, he still doesn't know about it, so this is going to be a good denial. I wonder if he'll sit here and wait for the hatchery to complete, or if he'll just take it down immediately, and there's your answer. He is just going to immediately kill this. So well done from KOP there, but Shine, he's just got drones everywhere. He takes top right immediately. He's got mid right going up. So a double expand again from Shine, trying to get one of them up and running. +2 weapon should be done for Terran at this point, and +4 armor is done for Zerg. So again, matching the upgrades on both sides. About a 35 supply lead for Terran right now. I would say that's okay versus Crazy Zerg, but it's still going to be very hard because the main issue for me is I haven't seen any Ultras die, and if Zerg can get up to like 15 Ultras, that's going to be rough. Another dropship unloading at top right. Looks like it was not spotted. Well, it's going to get spotted now. So this base is going to be denied again, and these Guardians are still just hanging around the third base, making sure that bottom middle doesn't get taken out in some fashion. The drop at bottom left, I think, is about to get intercepted. Yeah, almost got intercepted by Scourge down there, but ends up not losing the lives. The vessels are going out into no man's land, but they've actually managed to get across the map safely, and so many irradiates are going down. This is what KOP was waiting for. He gets off like, what is it, 7, 8 irradiates, and he's going to take down some Guardians? This was really good damage. And now he's going to combo this with a huge attack onto the natural. The Guardians are still doing a lot of damage just sitting over the dead space, but I don't think there's a Defiler. And if there's no Defiler, I actually think Terran could win with this move. There are a lot of Ultras, but they are heavily damaged now. Now, I guess the question now is, will these Marines get bugged out by the Guardians? So far, none of them are engaging on the Guardians. We've got a massive engagement at the Sunkens. The tanks, where are they? Those Marines in the back, like I said, they're kind of just screwing around because the Guardians are messing up the AI. There's the Defiler with the Dark Cloud, or the Dark Swarm, and now, did he overstep here? The Marines are not shooting the Ultras. Like, look at them, they're not really doing any damage. He's auto-attacking the Lings that were under Dark Swarm, and this army got swallowed up. This was a huge mistake from KOP. I like the idea, but the Dark Swarm was in the nick of time, and now you've got Ultras running rampant on the entire army. Drop it mid-right is going to get some damage done, but there's not that many Marines left over. Wow, there are so many Ultras still surviving somehow, despite the big attack and the irradiates. The vessel count, what is it, at 3? So that is not a big vessel count. You're not scared of this as Zerg. Terran is just now taking their third base. So even though he's going to 3 bases, he's mined out in his main. He's going to be back on 2-base mining. Zerg is, still kind of struggling with eco. He's got 4 bases, but the 4th base isn't running. But overall, I think the fact that there's so many Ultras left over and so few vessels left over, this feels like an advantage for Zerg at this point. The vessels, they do have to be careful, because I think that's really his lifeline in this game. If even just 2 or 3 vessels get caught, I think the game may end. And as I say that, here comes the Ultras. There's the 3 vessels I was talking about, the irradiated Ultras. They don't care if they're irradiated, man. They're just going to run on top of your Marines and SCVs. You're going to be damaging yourself. There's the Defiler also. And this could be the beginning of the end for KOP. And let's see if he can get some damage done with this drop. There is a drop at mid-right. Also, that drop at bottom left is still there. Looks like he's going to go for a multi-pronged attack again. Drop at bottom left is making a move. The Marines at the right side are denying this base. But these Marines are going to be killed off. And if you're KOP at this point, what do you really do? You're mined out in the main. Your natural's about to be mined out. You've lost your army over and over and over. You lost your drop. You've got a decent amount of vessels. There is a drop at bottom middle, by the way. It is going to shut down this base. So actually, this was a really good counterplay. Shine supply is even with Terrans. The Marines are heavily upgraded. There's not that many Ultras left over. Needs a stim, though. Ultra's going to, soak up so many hits. Ultra from the top side. +3 weapon kicked in for Terran, but I guess +5 armor kicked in for Zerg, because it felt like that Ultra survived for a really long time. Ultra at the bottom side of the map is going to clean up this attack. And Shine, he will stabilize, I guess, both of his bases. He's got mid-right running now. Just needs to transfer some drones to bottom middle. He's also starting to take top right. But overall, these drops really did more damage than I was expecting. And now KOP has eliminated almost all of the Ultralists. He's actually got a fighting chance in this game now. The drop at bottom natural looks like it is denied. And this is an interesting place to take a third base as copies. Instead of taking top middle, he's going to take mid left. I think a Ling spotted it, so Zerg knows where it is. I'd really like to see a Plague. I think Plague would be devastating damage. We haven't seen it cast all game long, so maybe he doesn't have that upgrade just yet. But at this point, I think both players are content with just resetting, stabilizing their army, you know, building up a higher Ultralist count, building up a bigger swell of vessels. But instead, KOP has a little bit of other ideas. Starting to make some moves out on the map. Also has dropship sharking around the right side. The dropship spotted those 8 Ultralists, so you can see immediately the vessels are trailing. But instead, they did get intercepted by a couple of Scourge, so they back off, and there's more Scourge, and they found the vessels. KOP, he's going to lose almost all of his vessels here, I think. Oh, actually. Okay, he gets both right there. So he takes down 2 out of the 3. Big win there for Shine. Really big win there for Shine. Terran with the drop. Again, moving towards the right side. He needs to shut down mid-right. I think dropping mid-right is better than killing the base at top right. Oh my gosh, more Scourge are going to come in here and connect onto all the vessels. Every single one of them are gone. And now there are just so many Ultras left over, plus the Dark Swarm, and there is the drop in mid-right. I think this was the smart choice. You need to shut down the eco. You need to keep Shine's army back. You, of course, don't know that Shine has a bank of 1k, but you're feeling pretty good if you're preventing the mining like this. He's also killing off drones, so that's really well done. But the problem is there's just so many Ultras. The Dark Swarm nullifying a lot of the damage. There's 7 Ultralists left over. KOP realizes he can't hold mid-left, so instead he's just going for the Hail Mary. He's going for a massive counterattack to top right. He probably feels like if he can kill top right, kill mid-right, he's done a lot of eco damage. Maybe his standing army can win the game along with the Irradiates, but I don't think so. I think there's just so much Zerg. Zerg, instead of engaging mid-right, is just going to counter because he still has bottom middle up and running. He can just counter and win the game with this attack. Lings and Ultras actually are going to engage at top right, and I think at this point, yep, there's too much Zerg. GG comes out, and KOP, he will fall into the losers match, but what a wild game. I think it was really close for a lot of points in that game. The vessel count was really high. Ultras count was really high. Both players were even in upgrades. My personal opinion is I think unless Terran is maxed out, it's hard to play from that position with even upgrades. But overall, really good game from both sides. And that does set us up for our winners match, which is going to be Shine versus Motive. This is going to be a Zerg versus Protoss. I think out of all the players Motive wanted to face, I think this is probably the one he least wanted to face off against. Shine has got so many builds. He can pull off mega all-ins. He can play off, pull off funky builds like his Odyssey game versus No from a couple seasons ago in ASL, where he like rushed a lurker and popped it into the main. It's going to be really hard for Motive here, I think. So with all that said, let's get into our winners match. It is going to be Shine facing off first Motive and Clayton. Alrighty, in the top left, in the orange, it is Motive. And meanwhile, in the bottom right, we have Shine. So Dark Origin, over the past few seasons of ASL, historically a good Zerg map. And by the way, when I saw those eggs not morph, or those larvae not morphing into eggs immediately, I was like, is this a 5 pool? But I was just a little bit too quick on the gun. He didn't have the money for the drone immediately. But like I was saying, Dark Origin so far in ASL has been a really good Zerg map for whatever reason. I'm not sure exactly why it's so good for Zerg, but Zerg players just really seem to be good at it. When I first saw this map, I thought this actually feels like it could be a good Protoss map, because your third base is pretty close. You have 3 bridges, so you know, there's a couple of options or a couple of pathways for Zerg, but any one of them, you're gonna get stormed to death, really. Then you've got your 4th base on high ground, and you know it's a map that you can split easily. Also, you can storm from the low ground the 4th base. So I feel like the longer the game goes, the better it is for Protoss. But maybe I'm wrong. So we do have, I think that was a 9-gate from Motive. Going to be very aggressive with this opener. And meanwhile, Shine, he is going for an 11 hatch here. I think he saw the probe, so he knows it's coming. And the players these days are mixing in 11 hatch and 12 hatch. I think no shocker to see an 11 hatch here on Dark Origin, where you're getting scouted fast. You know, you're often going to be facing off versus a 9-gate, especially when Protoss knows exactly where you are. So you want to get down that hatch immediately, and you do not want to have your hatch denied by the scouting probe, of course. So everything so far looks very normal to me. Probe tried to deny the pool, but ended up not getting much there. However, this probe is coming down towards the natural. Is this a second gate? What's this probe doing? There's a second probe coming. Alright, well, I don't think I've seen this before. Now, in the olden days where you would proxy 2 gates, or just go 2-gate opener in general, double probe with Zealot, like 3 Zealots, is actually really strong. It's actually incredibly strong. But that's not actually the case here. The probe was scouting in the main, and he didn't want Zerg to take the close by 3rd base. So he sent that probe down. It denies the 3rd hatch there, but Zerg is now going to just take bottom left. I'm not sure how punishing this is for Zerg as a non-Zerg player, and also, you know, not having played Dark Origin. But Motive clearly had this planned out, so he must like when Zerg's not able to get that base immediately. The 3rd hatch is quite far away, which is also a factor. So this could be a good situation for Motive. We'll see if he'll pylon blocks. I don't think he will. But back in Motive's main, even though he went for gate opener, didn't actually commit with the Zealot. Does go for Nexus as a follow-up, and I think Forge coming down for him. Drone is not going to be able to deny the probe from getting in. And he doesn't really see anything. 100 gas did just get spent. It's definitely for Lair. Yep, there it is at the natural. And so far, Motive knows exactly what's going on. Isn't going to be thrown off guard by a Hydra Den. We've got a couple of Zealots moving across the map. Is going to go towards bottom left. And I guess I forgot there is a ramp there. So maybe he can just hold the line on that position. And, you know, just trade incredibly efficiently. But there's only 2 Zealots. Now a 3rd one moving over there. And meanwhile, Shine is building a lot of lanes. I guess he sees that there's a decent amount of Zealots on his doorstep. He wants to keep careful that he has enough to defend this. Zealot is going to be caught at mid-right. Ooh, really good. Really good from Shine. And meanwhile, the Zealots at bottom left. Well, this is going to be a good engagement. They got into the sweet spot there. Trades decently effective. Meanwhile, in Shine's base, I think we haven't seen a Hydrogen come down. So I think this is just going to be Spire Opener. And for Motive, first cannon coming down for him. He's gotten away with a little bit of murder here, I would say. Didn't have to build cannons for a long time. Should have a really streamlined build. I don't think there are enough Lings here to actually engage. And these Zealots are actually going to take down all the Lings across the map also. So all of a sudden, this is kind of a bad spot for Shine. He's down 10 workers. Protoss is a really great opener. I imagine his Stargate should be started. Spire's coming down. Yeah, Stargate's almost done. So overall, this looks like it was really well done from Motive. Just now, second gas coming in for him. So he's really prioritized his mineral income. Again, the trades against the Lings are just so good. Finally, one of the Zealots gets taken down, but how many Lings has he built? Like, he just built so many for these 2 Zealots on the left side of the map. Citadel coming in as expected. Still only 1 gate for Protoss. I think that's pretty much par for the course at this point. Drone cycle finally for Shine. He was at 18 workers a moment ago. Now he's at 29, make that 30. So I guess I was completely wrong about Shine's econ being down in the dumps because he has recovered quite well. First Corsair moving across the map. I think we got to look at, what is it, 5 Zealots at Protoss's gateway. So a decent amount of Zealots despite losing a couple in the early game. So he is going to have a pretty strong timing at around, I would say, like 8 minutes, 8:30. I'm expecting for speed to start kicking in. Does scout the Spire, sees the eggs morphing. Not sure if he actually saw the Nat gas, but if he did, he would see that it was not being mined. We've got a Ling run by. No, actually not a run by. He's just going to chill out on the cannon. Alright, but these... Okay, 2 Lings get in. It's going to be a little bit of annoying. A little bit of an annoying move, but Protoss does not care about 2 Lings. He just builds an additional cannon in his main to deal with that, and he is going to be on the prowl with these 7 Zealots. +1 weapon, you gotta guess it's gotta be pretty close to finishing. So this could be a really strong timing right now. +1 not done just yet, but Zerg has no units. Like every single Ling he sent across the map. But Protoss is not gonna commit. He only commits with 1 Zealot. In retrospect, maybe it was a smart move because this forced out Mutas and he ends up only sacking 1 Zealot for this. So actually that was a really good move. He gets a full scout, sees that it is going to be a Muta follow-up, and now he can build, 7, 8 Corsairs, then combo with his remaining Zealots left over. So overall, I'm really loving Mota's play this game. This is looking really, really solid. I think the only thing that's lacking now is just putting down a few more gateways. Other than that, this seems pretty solid. Now that is a lot of Mutas and Scourge. I think we had 5 Corsairs for can't speak for Protoss right now, but I think he's going to go up into a couple more if there's 6 coming out. I think 7 is the magic number he's looking for. I think that's the Hydrogen. Wow, 8-minute, 30-second Hydrogen. That feels so late. So if Protoss makes a move pretty soon, he may genuinely only have to deal with 1 or 2 Sunkens, Mutas, and a handful of Lings. And I actually think the Zealots could just overrun a situation like that. This is going to be 6 gates for motive. +1 weapon is done. I think if you're going to make a move, now's the time to go. First, Templar was also out, so if he sends it across the map with his Corsairs, I think he could actually escort it across the map and actually have a single storm available. Again, another Zealot coming in to scout. He sees no Hydras. I think when he sees no Hydras, he's thinking, dude, are you going full on Mutas? And in response, you saw that there's an Archon morphing at the natural, but I don't actually think that this is going to be pure Mutas. I think that he's been caught off guard, or has been duped actually. I think this is just going to be a normal Hydra follow-up, but maybe I'm wrong. There are so many Scourge. I guess he wants to really just overrun this Corsair army. This is something like 20 Scourge or more, comboed with a decent amount of Mutas. There are 8 Corsairs out. Corsairs do have +1 weapon, and I think the Mutas do have +1 armor. Wow, that is so many. That is so many Mutas. And this is going to be the big engagement of the game. If the Corsairs win here, I think Motive's in a fantastic position. 9 Corsairs. He did not stop building Corsairs at any point. Can the Mutas and the Scourge find the angle? Here they come! No Scourge connect just yet. He will get 1 Corsair. This is going to be tough. Double cannon in the main. I don't think this is going to work. I think that the Corsairs beat this easily. There we go. Mutas pop the cannon. Mutas are going to oh, the Corsairs! Wow, 3 of them end up surviving. 5 of them got taken out. But there's still a decent amount of damage available on these 2 Corsairs. So, oh, a massive counterattack into the bottom left. But there's definitely not enough anti-air here. The Archon and Zealot's going to focus down the Sunken and Hydrogen. However, the Mutas that are coming back, I think, should save the day. But this does buy Motive some time to get his 3rd base up and running, also to try and rebuild his Corsair count. Now remember, these Meadows are weak. If they take even just one Archon hit, they could all go poof in an instant. That's why you see him running for his life, trying to get off a lot, or trying to get off some good micro hits, which he's actually done with the Meadows, but this is so dangerous. You can see the Archon really trying to get the last hit on these Meadows, but he's not going to find it. And now, Protoss is almost even in supply with Zerg. That's never the spot you want to be in. Zerg is now on the... Ooh, that's a big shot. Takes down 3 of the Meadows instantly. Corsair finishes off a couple more Meadows, but there's a lot of Zerg on the move. A lot of Hydras and Lings. I think it's going to be hard to attack across these bridges, but he actually gets across. I think it's a mistake if he attacks, though. I think there's not enough. I think Shine, you gotta run, man. I don't think your Mutas are healthy enough to try and engage, but he does just get off a couple of pot shots and back off. Shine has taken his 4th base. Look at his drone count. 51 drones to, actually 54 drones to 52 probes. This is really killer econ for Shine right now. All he needs to do at this point is just build units, just pump out an overwhelming amount of Hydras while also going Hive, and this is looking like a really good spot for him in this game. The Robo just now started. I don't think it's late for how this game has unfolded, because I don't think that Shine has enough gas for Lurkers, but if he does have Lurker upgraded somehow, it's going to be tough for Motive to make an attack, at least for the next 2 or 3 minutes. Muta's trying to find the opening. They're actually going to just straight up kill some goons. There's no Sares here. The Templars are not there either. Look at this Templar hiding behind the gateway. He's waiting for a good storm. But so far, isn't able to get it. Ooh, found the sweet spot on the 3rd base. Gonna rack up a lot of probe kills. Dodges the first storm. Goons from the high ground. Making an interception. Oh, another great dodge. Well, that one, not so much. Took a lot of damage there. But I would say that was an okay trade for Shine. Forced out a lot of storms. Killed a goon. Killed a Corsair. Killed some probes. Kept Protoss on the back foot. And there's the Lurkers that we were expecting to see. Now, even though it's hard for Zerg to attack the bridges, it's equally hard for Protoss to get across the bridges. So if there's a Lurker contain set up, this could be nightmarish for Protoss. Zerg has, what is that, 9 hatches, 8 hatches right now? Insane production capabilities. Motive, he needs to do something about this, because at some point, Zerg just gets so strong, so overwhelming in macro, that you just can't keep up with them. And it doesn't seem like he's going to be able to punish these bases. And now I'm worried that Motive is just never going to have a favorable engagement. Also, something to consider is that back building of Motive's base. If Lurker Spines take that down, all of a sudden it opens up a counterattack option for Shine. Shine saw some units move out of position, immediately moves across the bridge, and pops a goon. And 5th base almost complete for Shine at this point. I mean, he's killing at this game. He's playing really, really well. Protoss is going to try and take a 4th base. It is high ground, so it will be hard for Zerg to engage. But if you're Protoss, how do you get across these bridges? How do you get out onto the map and do anything? That's the question I'm asking. So many goons in Protoss' army. Just an absurd amount of goons. But goons don't stop Mutas from coming in and killing the Templars. Really good storms, hit a lot of the Hydras, does a lot of damage. But I think there's too many Hydras here. This base may be denied. Protoss scrambling to get up here, try and make sure that that doesn't happen, but it does get denied. And now Zerg's just going to back off. I will say that Shine's upgrades are not as far along as I expected them to be. He does only have +1 weapon on his Hydralisk. Meanwhile, I think Protoss has 2-1. Yep, 2-1 armor for Protoss. However, Protoss is making a move like he wants to attack bottom left, but I don't know about that, man. If he commits to bottom left, he could instantly get countered. That's just so much Zerg. And it's also Hydra at bottom left. Okay, those are insane storms. Absolutely crazy. Shine, you're just running into the meat grinder. Absolutely ridiculous damage. So many Hydras actually fell there, but there's still so much Zerg left over. How does he have so much stuff? Well, I take that back. He had so much stuff. Now it's 145 to just 100. Zerg lost his entire army here. A lot of the lurkers are going to fall also. But doesn't seem like there are enough goons to actually kill the entire army. However, reinforcements going to try and save the day. And this was a massive swing in favor of Protoss. Not only does he kill the army, I think he's going to have enough left over to actually kill bottom left. Hydras and lurkers desperately trying to get into position here. There's not enough goons just yet to push through. Zealots moving into the 5th base. There's not a lot of defense here either. This army's going to get taken down. Bottom left is going to get taken. And now, not only is Protoss going to kill a base at bottom left, this opens up this base to be taken for Protoss while also killing potentially mid-right. This game just got completely turned on its head. Shine, who was in a fantastic spot, he just ate way too many storms. Way too many storms. And I don't know if this is a position you can recover from. He loses this base. He loses 3 hatcheries. He was on 8 or 9 hatch production. Now he's back down to 6. Protoss is on, I think, 10 gates. Look at the probe count. 60 workers versus 40 now. Massive swing in Protoss' favor. We also haven't gotten a look in Zerg's main base, I think, for a while. I don't even know if he has Hive. Like, he may just be stuck on Lair Tech with +2 upgrades, whereas Protoss is starting to scale into +3. Protoss has their 4th base. Protoss can start taking bottom left. He's got so many key tech units left over. Like, that's 10 goons right there, 3 Templars. Like, his tech army is still intact. Cannon's being set up. This is going to be a counterattack from Zerg, but I don't know if this is going to work. There's a storm. Zealot's going to eat some lurker damage. Wow, those Zealots got blown up immediately. Oh, he whiffs on the storm there, so the lurker actually did okay damage, but I don't think this is really anything to write home about. I don't think he's going to get past this position. Another storm goes down. And now these goons are going to be able to hold the line. And if you're Shine, what can you really do? I think he feels obligated to build more units. I don't think he can actually really go for drones to try and retake his mid-right base. Well, that was a really good engagement for Shine. He takes down a lot of the goons. The storms are, again, amazing. Deals with a lot of the Langs and a lot of the Hydras. It's just too much Protoss at this point. Zerg is down 60 supply. Upgrades are in Protoss' favor. +3 should be kicking in pretty soon. Or at least +2 weapon. I hear a lurker spine going off. It must be hitting the probe. Yeah, it is. Takes down a couple of probes. Another good storm there. I think it got like 6 probes, so decent damage. But not, enough damage to get him back into the game, at least not just yet. Almost doubling the supply now. It's 144 to 72. And this army from Zerg is just looking pitiful. This is going to get taken down. Yep, there it is. GG comes out from Shine in Motive. He is crushing it today. I think the winner's match is best of 3, so he's not out of the group just yet. But so far, taking down Sharp and now taking down Shine in Game 1. He's on the brink of making it out of the group in 1st place. So Shine, even though he ends up falling there, I really did like his play. I think other than eating the storms at mid-left, he was in a really good spot. He had 5 bases, good drone count. Maybe the upgrades were a little bit slow, but other than that, was crushing it. So if he can fix up those holes, I think in Game 2, he'll do much better. And let's get into Game 2. It is going to be Apocalypse as our map. And in the top middle, our 3rd player, it is Shine. And in the bottom left, really bringing it to the A game, it is Motive. Motive really surprising me. I think in both games, at best, it was even. I think it was start with best behind, but he's had some really great timings, and last game he had a really good defense while attacking bottom left. So if he can continue to make plays like that, he could be making it out in first place. Now I will say, I think Shine has gotten really good spawns here. Everybody knows Shine does go for drops a decent amount of the time, and with these spawns he can just directly fly from his main into Motive's main, and because of that I think Motive should consider playing what he did last game, which is heavy Corsair. What did he go up into, like 9 Corsairs? Even if he doesn't see mutas, I think he needs to build a lot of Corsairs to make sure that the drop doesn't get in and do devastating damage. Now, as far as openers, this is going to be another 12 or 11 hatch from Shine. This is another 9 gate, I think, from Motive. And he will find Shine. No, actually, he is going to get him with the first scout. Not going to be able to deny the hatchery, but get the lucky scout finding him first, and we'll be able to respond appropriately. Always really nice to find Zerg in the first position, see if they're going pool first. Also allows you to go for, in this particular scenario, you know, maybe you want to fake a cannon rush, make Zerg overreact, but ends up not going for it. And remember last game, Motive sent out that second probe to deny the close third hatch, or the close third base third hatch, I mean. Wonder if he'll do that again and force Zerg to expand to top right, for example. As I say that, there goes that probe, man. He's got this mapped out. He knows when the probe, or when the Zerg is going to send out that drone, and he's going to deny this drone hatch, third hatch again. Well, he might. He's taking a lot of damage. Oh, really good denial. Really good denial, and here's the second probe, but can he deny it? No, he didn't. At the last second, that drone actually gets it down. Now, I have not played Zerg in a long time. Does one Zealot, 2 probes have enough damage to force a cancel? It looks like, actually, they do have enough damage over time to force a cancel. So this could still be really good. Lings are on the way. I think you gotta cancel this. I think this is not gonna survive. Oh my god. I literally think that was last millisecond for him to cancel that. The 2 Zealots get into position along with the probe. It will be hard to deal with these Zealots. First probe ends up falling though, so that was a good catch right there. But now there's a lot of lings, and the probe is exposed. Okay, that's a really good setup for Zerg now. He's got 2 lings versus 1 Zealot at the bottom side. Now he's got 3. Okay, so this, what was a great move for Motive, all of a sudden kind of fell apart. But I still like the idea. Forced out a lot of lings, got to cancel at least, so it's going to be denied larva. That's great. And in Sharp's main, or not Sharp, in Shine's main, more lings coming across. Shine has actually gone for speed here. Uh-oh. Motive's making another move out, but unbeknownst to him, this is a ling flood. This is all in. I guess it's not technically all in yet, but Shine is looking to go for a killing move here. So Motive, last game he was so diligent with keeping his Zealots back and into position, but this time he's going to be caught. Remember last game he was way late on building a cannon. He has no cannon just yet. He's going to lose both of these Zealots, and he is in dire straits at this point. Ling's in the main also. It could not go worse. Speed has to be moments away from kicking in. He needs to pull all of his probes right now to try and hold this while his cannon gets up, but I don't think he's doing that. Oh, he is. Cannon is not going to be denied. The Zealot on the top died, and now there's a massive opening. Surprisingly, speed is not kicked in just yet. I'm like sitting here waiting for it to kick in, and CGG comes out. There's the speed. Cybernetics was being focused. Now the Zealots are all going to die. Now Motive's now. Uh-oh. I am in deep trouble, and this could be it. Yep, GG comes out. He knows that he overstepped there, a little bit too cocky with the move out, and Shine, he will even up the score 1-1. I really did like the move with the probe. It's clearly been mapped out very well, along with the Zealot. Even if the drone gets the hatchery down, you can still deny it. But the 3 Zealot move out, especially after the first probe got caught, a little bit too ambitious. You had no idea what Shine was doing. You didn't even know if he was mining gas. So he does get punished immediately, and that does bring us to match point here. We are in the winner's match. Winner here will make it out in first place. Loser will be waiting in the decider's note. And this time, with horizontal spawns in the bottom left, we've got Mr. Shine. And in the bottom right, we've got Motive. We've seen back-to-back 9 gates. I think back-to-back 11 hatches. I'd like to see him mix up, whether that means 30 on full first, or Protoss on fourth first. To, you know, get a different opening, or at least an initial type of opener from our players. There goes that probe again. Down to the low ground, as expected. I'm not going to be channeling his inner Bonneth here with like a 2-gate in the main. And probe is again, no, I thought he was going to immediately go out for a scout, but instead he has decided he's just going to stick around. And that means this is most likely going to be another 9-gate, and Shine's going to get a little bit lucky here. We'll see the fast gate opener from Motive. Meanwhile, I expect Motive to go to bottom middle and intercept this overlord, so both players should get off an immediate scout, but instead he ends up going to mid-right. I can't believe he goes to mid-right. So a little bit unlucky there for Motive. We'll most likely find Zerg last. And Zerg is going to be able to get away with hatch first again. And there it is. So that's a bit unlucky for you Protoss enjoyers out there. I also think that the Overlord will not be spotted by this gate and pylon, at least not for a while, unless he continues to go in. Nope, he backed off, and I don't think he has vision of it, so, or have vision of the Overlord. So overall, this was kind of just unlucky scout pattern from Motive. You know, at top tier levels, you do need to mix in your scout patterns. You know, he may have expected Shine to go for a weird scout pattern if he had spawned top right, but this time it backfired. And now Shine is actually setting up like he's going to take a third hatch at mid left. He's actually engaged that probe at mid left. And I think he got off the first shot, so he should be able to get this down. I think Motive needs to pylon block this one. Well, he's going to lose his probe. Wow, he loses his probe. That's not good for him. Loses a probe. He's most likely going to lose this probe also at some point in the game. First Zealot is already in his base, though. Wow, it got across the map real quick. This pylon does deny the third hatch, though, so that's great. But can you rack up some drone kills in the main? You're the drone doing a lot of damage. Oh, that was a fantastic drill. Really good. He's gonna get one drone so far, but I don't think he's gonna get much more than that. I think if you trade one drone for one Zealot, you gotta take that as a win. I think you're losing the minimum at that point. He's also gonna kill the probe again, and there's another Zealot in the main, but it's already lost half of its shields. I feel like, again, this is another dire situation for Motive. He got in and he saw that there's gas, but he lost 2 probes. He's going to lose both of these Zealots. He's going to lose the pylon at mid left. And now, again, you're stuck guessing, what is the follow-up? Shine has already gone for a Ling Flood. He's played a normal game on Dark Origin. And you're playing versus a guy who's, I would say, arguably the most tricky player to play against. Like, he could go Hydrogen. He could go Lair. He could not mine gas at all. He could do something weird where he shows gas and not mine gas and goes into like 5 or 6 hatch before gas. You know, mining of gas. So this is going to be a really, really tough situation for Motive. I think all he can really do is just scale into his Stargate and pray to God that this guy doesn't go 9-7-3 and, you know, just get a normal game after scouting that it's, you know, lair into spire or something. There's the first cannon. And the Zealots are going to move into position to say, hey, do not even try to take down that gateway. Good control right there from Motive. Plugs up the wall while also dealing with the Lings on the top side. Look how far along that lair is. He's going to have Spire, I think, started before the Stargate even starts, or at least very close timing to when the Stargate starts. So this is pretty much the dream situation for Zerg. Can do literally anything he wants. I guess the mining at his third base is not optimal, but who really cares, right? Like, you're mining overall decently from that position. You're going to put down more hatches anyways, so it's fine. Spire comes down. It's basically identical timing to the Stargate, so I don't think the Corsair can even safely get across the map. That forge is not spinning just... Okay, as I say that, of course, it's like whenever you say something's not happening, it immediately happens as a caster. The forge was not spinning, and then he immediately gets +1. It's like they hear you, man. It's like, oh, I forgot my +1. I better click that. And should be a hatch coming down. Yep, 4th hatch is going down. 5th hatch should be coming down pretty soon for Shine. Stargate is done, and Corsair will be getting across the map momentarily. I didn't see a Citadel just yet for Protoss. I don't even know how this Zealot got across the map. Where did he come from? Did I just completely miss him? There is somehow a Zealot at mid left. And yeah, Shine didn't even realize it was a Zealot. He's like, wait a minute, what? How did you get past my Lings? He gets a drone kill. He gets 2 drone kills. That's great. He needed that. Gonna even up the worker count a little bit, but it's still, I would say, in favor of Zerg. But now there's 4 Zealots on the doorstep of the natural of Zerg. All the Lings are out of position at the third base. Mutas are not out just yet. So this Corsair may be able to not only get an Overlord, he can potentially get out with his life. Zealots moving into the main. This did a surprising amount of damage. How many drones can he get? He's going to get none so far. 1, 2. I guess that's it. 2 drones, and he forces lost mining time at the natural, main, and third base. I'm going to call worth. I'm going to say, at worst, it's even. He does lose 4 Zealots, but again, just like in Game 1, it buys him time to build up his Corsair count. He also saw that Zerg was not mining gas at the natural, so I don't think it's going to be committed mutas. So this time around, probably just going to hang around 5, 6, 7 Corsairs instead of building into 9. So overall, really good trade for Motive there. I do see, I think he's only on 2 gates, whereas Shine is exploding now. He's got 6 hatched, Hydrogen coming down. I'm pretty sure Evolution was one of those buildings also, so Hydrogen and Evolution Chamber coming down. Protoss, how many Zealots does he have? I don't think he has that many, so even if speed kicks in, I don't think he can really hit a timing anymore. He just doesn't have enough firepower in his army. So I think he's going to be content with just sitting on his side of the map, building up his gateway count, start scaling into his Templars. Yeah, he scouts that it's 6 hatch with Evolution Chamber and good Sim City. And meanwhile, as expected, it is going to be Hydras instead of Mutas this time. Only 35 drones at this point. I think it's fine at this point in the game. But Shine may start exploding in workers like he did on Dark Origin any moment now. Still 2 gates. Surprised at how long it's taken to get the gateways down. But he's not under any threat, so I guess it's fine. DT, is that the first DT we've seen? I think it actually is. And this may actually catch Shine off guard because we haven't seen a single DT the entire game. Ling gets taken out at bottom middle. Gets rid of a little bit of vision. Wow, he's actually... Wow, it's not even double gate. It was double Stargate. I didn't even notice that it's double Stargate. So he really wants to win in the air. That's so surprising to me because he didn't see gas being mined at the natural to the third base. Maybe he knows Shine is someone that loves to play mutas, but this is, I think, gonna backfire for Motive. He really needs a lot of stuff on the ground. Every Corsair he built, you know, could almost be a Templar. And you really need Templars to deal with the Hydras, but maybe he's thinking he can get a massive supply block and overrun him? I don't know, though. As I stated, I was waiting for that massive drone cycle for Shine, and it did just now kick in. He's up to 51 drones. Massive, massive eco for him. And Motive has now shown his hand that this is a lot of Corsairs. And the Corsairs move out of position. Mutas immediately swoop in and kill off a Templar. Really well done from Shine there. DT hanging around, getting some vision, and we'll get a couple of pot shots in, I'm sure. Corsairs find the mutas, and these are not long for this world. They get blown up real quick. 9 Corsairs. What is it, 2 mutas now? Almost no real threat in the air for Motive. As long as he can have enough Zealots to engage the Hydras, he could just run rampant on these Overlords. I think actually right now could be a good time. There's so many Overlords clumped up together. He has a decent Zealot army. I think he would lose the fight on the ground, but I think it would buy him enough time to just kill so many Overlords. And there he goes. But those were move commanded Zealots, and it's 2 of them that just got bled off for free. So far, Shine doing really well. To limit the amount of damage. In fact, I would say he's taken almost no damage at this point. This double Stargate opener has really not paid dividends for Protoss, at least not just yet. Random muta at the bottom side of the map ends up denying the probe, and that's going to be a denied third base. So far, everything looks like it's going in Zerg's favor. I think at this point, if Zerg got any amount of lurkers, he would have a stranglehold on this game. I think committing to this many Corsairs and Templars probably cut into his robo timing, but we haven't seen any lurkers just yet. Oh man, he's losing some more Zealots. How many Zealots does he even... Okay, that's a lot. That was more than I thought. That's way more than I thought. Oh, I heard lurker. And with the lurker being complete, I think Motive's in trouble. He doesn't have goons. He doesn't have that many storms. He doesn't have observers out. The Overlords have gotten to a safe position. This is rough. If Zerg takes bottom middle, Protoss is in deep trouble. However, once again, how do these Zealots just avoid the army? This is going to be another huge attack. Zerg runs in here, pops. Well, actually doesn't pop nothing. He pops some Storm and eats it and loses all of his Hydras. But these Zealots, I don't think there's enough to overrun this army. Hydras are probably going to... Well, actually, maybe there are enough. Oh my gosh, how fast did those Overlords die? The Zealots will end up winning, and none of the Corsairs died. So a big supply block for Zerg, but overall, I don't think that was enough damage. Protoss lost a lot of Zealots in that engagement. And we do have... Oh, we've got triple gas, as Cruiser's pointing out, so there could be a muta switch, but I think that's risky since none of the Corsairs died. Protoss actually is moving out onto the map. I guess there were not enough lurkers to keep Protoss at bay. And doesn't really lose. Okay, actually, he lost 4 Corsairs there? Something like that. Those were good pickoffs from Motive. And actually, oh, lurker drop. Here we go. There are so many probes here. Does Motive notice? Oh my gosh. Oh! Oh, so much damage. He was at, what was it? It was either 51 probes or 54 probes. So he either got 13 or 16 probes with those lurkers. Absurd damage. That was really, really good. And that may trigger an all-in counterattack from Preuss. He has built a third base. He may be feeling like losing that many workers is too much. Now another fantastic storm hits 4 out of the 10 lurkers. 5 of the lurkers already gone. Oh, he lost all of his observers. No, he lost half of his observers. 1 remains. That one falls. But 1 lurker just barely going to hold the line. Hydra's moving in to finish the job on these dragoons. Another good storm. Loses all of his Templars there. Man, what a good attack from Motive, eliminating 6 of the lurker, or actually even more than that, eliminating like 9 of the lurkers. He is down in workers himself right now, 51 to 42. He's got his +2 armor power spike. Meanwhile, okay, this time around, Shine does have his +2 weapon power spike, so that's great. And this DT actually missed the drone. That's a bit unfortunate. Will not be able to deny the 4th base, at least not just yet. And look at this move from Shine. He acts like he's attacking through the center, but actually has a contingency force on the backside. He's going to try and deny this base. I think he's going to actually pop that Nexus. There's no defense there. He could just focus it down. Yep, it's already halfway gone. And this is going to trigger a big counterattack from Motive. He's up 30 supply with about 10 supply on the far right side of the map. So he's actually up 40 supply in this current engagement. Decent storm there. So many goons here. And he's going to start racking up. Wow, look at how many Overlords Shine built. He was up to 160 available supply. So he's overbuilt Overlords, and that could come back to bite him because now he's got a huge army on his doorstep. But again, this corridor is so hard to engage into. Now he's also got Hydras coming through the backside. I think Motive needs to back up and just try and take bottom middle as an expansion. Really good storm there. Hits a lot of the Hydras in the back. Meanwhile, the Hydras at the front holding the line. Shine, who, like I said, had 160 available supply. Look at him, he's supply blocked. He's lost so many Overlords. Can't build any Hydras at this point. Can Motive actually win here with the goons? I don't think so. I think there's just too many Hydras left over. Zealot and Templar trying to save the day, but that was a good dodge. Just barely. I think Shine will hold. The Hydras are just so strong. He also has a sunken here. Yeah, he is going to hold. And behind this, Motive has not built a Nexus. There's no 3rd Nexus at bottom middle, no 3rd Nexus at mid right. He's mining on 1 base right now, just as natural. So even though supplies are heavily in his favor, he's got to win the game here. Like, he needs to win. He cannot let Shine stabilize, cannot, afford for him to be unsupply blocked and build up his Hydras. He lost so many goons right there to the trailing Hydralists. The DT got, holy smokes, 16 kills on that Dark Templar. That definitely got Motive back into this game. And this 3rd base now actually may be able to get up and running. That's going to buy him a lot of time and will stabilize this game. Both players going blow for blow here, really trading their armies quite heavily while also trading their workers quite heavily. Remember, the Lurker drop got 16 or so kills also. Now all of a sudden Shine's the one that needs to be rebuilding his eco. He's the one that needs to get a 4th base because he's going to be mined out in his main pretty soon. Well, I do see that Motive is starting to get really starved on gas. I am a little bit worried about that because you can see his army right there. It's like, what, 2 or 3 Templars and then 10 Zealots or something? Really not a strong army. And if he's going to be on just 1.5 gas mining because he's only got 1 full gas and just, 2 depleted gas, it's going to be really hard for him to build goons and Templars. So it's imperative that he keeps those units alive. There was a denied 4th base at top left. Actually, it was killed. It was not canceled. Is that a drop? Wow. Motive on top of it, despite having no vision, knew that a drop could be coming, and he was ready for it. Meanwhile, Shine, he is going to take the top left main and also the top left natural. So he's double expanding here. He's still very low on workers. Would like to see him build up, or at least do one cycle of drones so he can get up to something like 45. Another drop coming. But Motive, he's ready for it. If there's a lurker drop here, this could... Oh, does he actually unload? Oh! Gosh! And because Motive knows the main and natural is mined out, even though he knew that it was a suicide mission with those two lurkers, he knew that all the probes were there. If he could have gotten off one more round of spines, he legitimately would have killed off like 30 or 40 probes. He still got, what was it, 18 probes or something there? So insane damage. And it looks like he may have come in for round 2. Another lurker drop. He gets a couple more. And gets away with his life on that last remaining lurker. Oh, he's not done. He wants some more. That could have been a juicy last mine if it had connected as those probes came running in. But not able to finish off those probes. But look at this. Shine, who was down supply, what was it, 100 to 65 a moment ago? He's now up supply 105 to 97 with a double expand. Again, he still just needs to do a drone cycle as he does right now. And now he's going to have really good saturation across his bases. As I was stating, it's really hard for Motive to get an army that can contest the army of Zerg. So this is a rough spot for Motive. He's got a balance being not... Oh, is that another drop? Another lurker drop. This is so annoying. And he's just going to come in with his second lurker. Yeah, there's another one. Oh. Alright, well that didn't actually work out. But Motive, while this all was happening, makes a huge move to top middle. There is an observer in this army, but it's trailing far behind. And there's only 3 lurkers, 1 Hydra. So these bases could get taken down. I think just like in game 1, I don't think Shine has a hive, so there's no Nidus or anything. However, there are so many Templars. This is going to be storm for days. Yeah, I think Shine realizes that there's no way he can get through this army, so instead, he's just going to back off. He's going to have to sack his bases, though. And now, Shine is going to go on full-on counterattack. This is a lot of stuff. Remember, he baited out a lot of storms with that lurker drop. He's trying to bait, I think, another storm out. I don't think there's enough. I don't think there's enough storm. This is going to kill Motive's base, and he's going to be not mining anymore. Wow, this is wild. Motive's on full-on retreat. He knows that he's got to save this base, because if he doesn't, he's going to be facing a Zerg who's still technically mining his natural in third base. 9 probes left over. So this is it for Motive. His standing army has to win the game. He cannot transition out of this. He barely has enough money to even build a Nexus. But he doesn't feel confident to engage this army. Is he really going to try and take mid-right? There's no way. He has 8 probes. His army is huge. I will give him that. His army is menacing. It is incredibly strong. It is very high-tech. He's kept a lot of the Templars alive. Okay, here we go. This is the fight that he wants. All the lurkers kind of clumped up together. The Hydra's also clumped up together. He gets off really good storms. The Observer is still alive. It's doing a lot of damage. He still has a lot of storm available, but his army is not that big anymore. He's down to 50 supply. He's got like 5 Templars. Wow, top left actually managed to get saved somehow. I can't believe that top left is saved. I thought for sure both of those bases were going to die. And now, Shine is going to be able to start mining again. He's also morphing some lurkers. He's got Hydra set up there. If Motive wants to win this game, he has to kill top left. He's got to do it. There's just no question about that. But the thing is Shine has drops. Like, he can evac these drones. Well, he can evac these drones, but now I'm noticing that mid-left is mined out. This is a wild game. Protoss actually has the Nexus almost complete at mid-right, but there's a counter of Hydras. These Hydras are going to shut down this base. He canceled the Nexus. And now he officially does not have enough money to build one. He is at 347 minerals. Make that 247. He's got to win with his standing army. More Archons being morphed. There are 2 observers. He gets that lurker. Oh, this is so great. This is such an insane game. Really good damage. Oh my! I don't think the Hydras and lurkers can hold this. He focuses down. No, he doesn't focus down one of the observers. He's barreling through. It's 3 Archons, 2 goons, and a dream. The goons. The Hydras. Unfortunately, I think the dream is a nightmare. There's too many Hydras. Too many reinforcements coming. He's losing all of his observers. There's nothing left for Moav. He has no army left. The last Archon falls. The last goon falls. And there it is. Shine. He's going to take game 3. And he will make it out in first place. That was a really good series. The last game, quite epic. Really back and forth. Absolutely amazing. And even though Moav loses there, I think you got to be feeling really good about how you played there. He's played so well all group long. He's also not out of it just yet. He already beat Sharp in the first game, so I think he's brought it to game 3 versus Shine. I think he can go to game 3 versus Sharp. But now we're going to be going into our deciders match, our losers match, and it is going to be Sharp versus KOP. So we've got a TVT. First map is going to be Dark Origin again. Let's get into it. And in the top left are orange. One player is Sharp. In the top right. Our Terran player that's up to no good already. It is KOP. And before getting into the game, I was going to say, I think KOP has to have some special plan for Sharp. This guy is really, really strong in Terran versus Terran. I don't think you really ever want to play him as a Terran player. And because of that, you want to end it as fast as possible. And this is going to be either a 7 rack or an 8 rack. It's actually going to be an 8 rack. I think 8 racks is not that great versus Terran. Is he going to scout? No. I actually think like 7 racks or 6 racks is much stronger, especially on 2-player maps. But we'll see if Sharp scouts it. If Sharp doesn't scout it, it doesn't matter whether it's a 6 rack, 7 racks, 8 racks, 9 racks even, because if he can get up a bunker at your mineral line, you're dead. So this is going to be really tough to hold if Sharp doesn't scout this. But if he does scout this, it's game over. He does not. Wow. Just barely missing the barracks. And Sharp's going to be like, what the hell? Where did this bunker come from? I scouted for it. But you didn't scout far enough, man. Well, for Sharp fans out there, you're going to have to be praying for a miracle. Once the first bunker gets up, it is... Oh, he spots it! He spots it with the vision from the minerals! And now he sees it, and now this is actually possible to hold. If that bunker was not in vision, the game's over. But if the SCV dies, the SCV died. And unfortunately for KOP, you can see that the Marine pops out on the right side. So if there's just 2 SCVs just sitting there waiting, the Marines die instantly. This is heartbreaking for KOP. Like, he had everything he wanted. He had the barracks not get scouted. I guess, of course, the bunker didn't get in the spot that he wanted, but this is what I was talking about. And you can see the Marine pops out on the right side, and this is it. This is unplayable for KOP. He's going to try and make it happen, but you can't recover from this. You know, once you're at a certain level of play, I mean, your opponent is at a certain level of play, and you're down 5-6 workers, you know, by minute 3, you just can't. It's an unplayable situation. So KOP, he's gonna have to again hope for a miracle. I guess technically his factory timing is relatively okay compared to Sharp's, right? Like it's just barely behind, so he's not gonna outright die. But Sharp can build a command center soon, whereas KOP can't. If KOP does build a command center, he's gonna have to build like a bunker just to not die, and he's gonna have to cut a lot of corners to try and get back into this game. But Sharp knows that. He's not going to allow you to cut corners. He's going to go for a build that punishes you, that really forces you to build as many units as you possibly can. Now, what that actually is going to be, I'm not sure just yet. Oh my gosh, I just realized that that's not Sharp's SCV that died. That was KOP's. So he kills an SCV in KOP's main. He's going to kill some more SCVs. There goes another one. The factory's still not done yet. The SCV is still alive for Sharp. Look at the control. Absolutely unreal. The Marines are still alive. None of them have died yet. Finally loses that SCV. Unbelievable damage. There's also an SCV that's heavily damaged in the mineral line. Okay, he ends up saving that SCV, but now he's down 8 workers. And like I said, the issue is there's just such an eco gap that he can build a command center while also matching the factory count or the starport count from KOP. Like, I don't know what you do here. Like, this is just ridiculous. I think Sharp is doing exactly what you should do when she's going 2-fact with an armory. You know, you don't want to get caught off by like 2-port Wraith or something. And of course, Tank Goliath is just going to shut that down immediately. So when he sees that there's a command center, now he knows that there's no way that this guy can afford factory and starport and command center. And in fact, he should consider just canceling his armory, go like double add-on, just tanks, and just bully his way into the natural. But armory not an expensive building, so he's just going to let it complete. I guess he also wants to kill that barracks, so it's fine. Meanwhile, the racks in the main of KOP, Sharp is going to see everything. He's just continuing to build vultures to make sure he doesn't get overrun by vultures himself. Now he sees the add-on, and actually, now that Sharp sees this, if he does one more round of vultures, he'll probably just go like I hope he's doing right now. Yeah, he knows, like, dude, I'm on 2-fact, you're on 1-fact, you're building an add-on. How can you possibly have as much vultures as I do? But he's actually not attacking. Okay. He is moving across the bridge now. And KOP, you're out in no man's land. He needed to be on the other side of the bridges yesterday. Now he loses his first vulture. Yep, GG immediately. He knows his position. It was, like I said, this is just once you reach a certain level of play, when that happens, you just can't recover. Like, he needed an absolute miracle to come back, and Sharp is too good to allow that to happen. So, KOP, he will lose the first game. Not out of it just yet, but that's, of course, a demoralizing way to win, or to lose. So let's get into game 2 now. We're back on Apocalypse here. I mentioned Sharp is a monster in TVT. It's really, really hard. And KOP needs to win here, otherwise he'll be eliminated. So in the top right, up 1-0. It is Sharp. And in the mid right. I do not expect to from him. It's KOP. So I guess that's something to keep in mind, that even though the 8 rack did not get scouted, you know, in that spot, your STV bounces wrong while building the bunker, you can still spot it from the mineral line. I was not aware of that, but that is something that I will keep in mind when I myself play StarCraft. And now we are waiting for build orders to unfold. I think Sharp knows he's a big favorite matchup. That I think he'll probably play safe, like 12-cast, 1-fact, and 3-fact follow-up. Whereas KOP, I think he's the one that's going to need to play risky here. I think he needs to go for gasless and try and get a lead in that way. Something that I did just now remember is KOP, who was on Samsung Khan, was also on the team with Sharp, I think, at the same time. So these players may actually have some history, and there could be some mind games going on. So maybe I'm completely wrong with, you know, my assessment of the early stages on what players need to do, but it does seem like my read on KOP is correct, because he's going 14cc here. He is saying, Sharp, you're too good, man. I need an eco advantage. You know, it's a 3-player map. You may scout wrong. I may be able to get away with it. And Sharp is going to go 12 gas himself. SCV coming out for Sharp. In TVT, this was actually kind of a quick scout. I guess he may be expecting that this could be gasless or 14cc, and he wants to be able to respond immediately. I'm going to be taking heavy notes on how Sharp responds here, because it's not often that I get to see a pro run into a 14cc and have a somewhat quick scout. I want to know exactly how he's going to respond. A lot of the follow-up for 14cc are either 2-port Wraith, because if you get hit by a 1-base play and you don't have a Wraith for vision, you're kind of dead. But then there are also players that just build like 3 or 4 factories and just overrun you with mass vultures. So I wonder how Sharp is going to deal with this now that he's going to scout the 14cc within the next few seconds. And when Sharp comes in here and sees this, he is not going to be happy. Not at all. Now this is kind of a interesting positioning of the buildings. Depot, racks, and there's enough room to build a bunker or another depot. In TVT, you don't wall off. There's no way he gets that SCV, right? Is he? He almost got that, by the way. There's the bunker, and rallied Marine across the map. I think Sharp, if he wanted to make this move, needed to keep his SCV, you know, with more health, because now it's 1 Marine. Is Terran scared of 1 Marine? I'm gonna say no, right? And he also has a bunker coming up, so that seemed like a little bit of misstep there from Sharp. You know, obviously not the biggest of deals, because he lost 1 worker, who cares? But it is going to be 1 factory, command center, does go for instant add-on, and that building that went down for him, it's gotta be a starport. However, when you play this particular opener, you cannot afford to go 2 ports, so it's most likely just going to be tank plus a single starport, whereas KOP, he could go 2 starports here. He's going to have enough gas for that. A lot of times Terran players take double gas. Yep, there's going to be the second starport. Oh, not the second starport, that's a depot. So it is 1 fact, 1 port. That SCV at bottom left that we see at the natural actually could be a hidden starport, or maybe sitting up there for a hidden starport, I mean. But Sharp has gotten his racks across the map really, really quickly. Does see the nat gas already taken, and he should be able to read whether this is 2 starport or not. SCV gets taken down. Sharp showing a vulture is a little bit interesting. Okay, he's actually gotten multiple vultures, and it's going to be from mine. So he's going to try and set up a contain versus this. Even if the opponent had been going like 3 fact or 4 fact, and you know mines won't have to, you know, get hits on vultures, the mines do give you vision, which is still great. Now I don't think I've ever seen somebody lay mines that close, but that's an interesting take on where you should set up your mines. First Wraith is out for Sharp. First Wraith should be out for KOP pretty soon. There's actually not as big of a gap in workers as I expected there to be. There's only 2. Sometimes when I play my own games, the player that goes 14cc is up like 5 workers. So I'm guessing that KOP must have cut somewhere to be only up 2 workers, because I can't imagine, you know, Sharp somehow being able to catch up without some help from Sharp. Now this is going to be a mistake. KOP sending out his Wraith. He only has one, but he spots two of them, and now he's running for his life. And look at this. The mines come into play, man. He spotted where that Wraith was, and he's going to get intercepted, and that's bye-bye Wraith. He doesn't even get off. What did he get off? 2 shots? 1 shot? This is already a disaster for KOP. Does he have a second starport coming? Okay, he has built more Marines, so he will actually be able to push this back with only 1 Wraith and a couple Marines. Oh, did he not build a Wraith? He's going for an add-on, and he has an armory. I can't imagine this being for a Valkyrie. Wow, the Marines are doing a lot of damage to the Wraith. This is well done. We'll buy time to potentially get out a Goliath. 4 fact follow-up, by the way, for KOP. 3 Wraiths. Wow, that's a pretty big commitment for Sharp there. However, the first 2 Goliaths are out, and now these Wraiths are kind of dead-ish supply. I don't like Sharp's position right now. I think that KOP has map control with his scans and with his comp, you know, the tanks and Goliaths. Once he moves out and clears these mines, I think he can easily take a 3rd base. Whereas Sharp, he's kind of stuck on like either 1 fact or 2 fact right now. Doesn't have that many tanks because he built so many vultures. Now he loses another Wraith. Not looking great in my opinion. Just now building his 3rd and 4th factory. You can see he's starting to get some double upgrades. It's got to be for speed and siege mode, I imagine. But KOP's got a, even though it's not that many units, he's got a strong army. Like, he can definitely hold his high ground. There's no way that Sharp can really do anything to him. I hope he starts taking his 3rd base pretty soon. Looks like Sharp is actually going to be the one to build a 3rd base before KOP, though. He's got an SCV sitting there and waiting. And actually, it's going to be Dropship Man this game. I hear some scans going off. Not sure exactly whose scans that was. But dropships could be devastating. You know, because Sharp was so low on his factory count for so long, and now he's lost Wraiths, he may feel like he's got to send a lot of defense to that high ground. Oh, the Wraiths are going to spot the dropship. Wow, I can't believe he spots that dropship. But I was going to say, just like in the retro game where Sharp had to send so much defense to his 3rd base, he doesn't have any defense in his main. But now that he spots the dropship, I don't think that's going to happen. I think now he'll be ready for the incoming drops. And we do actually have 3rd command center for KOP just now, whereas Sharp is building his 3rd base basically at the same time. So seems like both players, openers were different, but we've gotten to the same point in the game. Both players sitting around 50 workers, both players building a 3rd command center at basically the same time. I guess the one difference is instead of Wraith, KOP has built dropships, but overall, 4 fact versus 4 fact. Both players, you know, content sitting on their own high ground. And we may be in for a long game here. Unless KOP can make something happen with a drop, then it can snowball out of control, especially since you can siege from the low ground. Now remember, I said you need to defend both positions, and that could be risky. So if Sharp's over defending his main, all of a sudden he could just drop this. He may just go for a full frontal drop. There are only 3 tanks here, 2 Marines. There is a mine. Mine triggers, but it explodes on his own tank. It explodes on both of his own tanks. And now KOP has a massive stranglehold on this game. He's going to be able to siege the natural and the 3rd base, and at minimum just be able to sit on the high ground here. I see some type of counterattack from Sharp to the 3rd base of KOP. I think some vultures got unloaded somehow, so he'll be able to deny some mining, but who really cares about that? Look at this contain. This is a massive contain. Also, KOP's +1 weapon is already done, so he's probably scaling into +2 pretty soon. You can see Sharp does not have +2 just yet, or +1 just yet. So already contained. He's probably going to be down in upgrades the entire game. This is an unbelievable position for KOP to be in. And now Sharp is in big time trouble. He's got to defend his natural 3rd base while also fearing for drops in his main. There's already 3 drops out in the map. If KOP can build up to 6 dropships and unload at any of those positions, he's going to just deal so much damage. Another drop from Sharp. I guess that's how the initial vultures got out, is they got unloaded. but it gets immediately taken down. And if you're Sharp in this position, what can you really do? You're basically giving up complete map control to KOP. I think all he can really do is go for drops himself, but he's just really lacking in the dropship count. He only has 2 right now. KOP can, mirror that very easily. KOP is setting up like he's trying to take a 4th base up there. I think he needs to start building some turrets before doing that, but Sharp actually does manage to unload some stuff, but it's 1 tank and just a couple of Goliaths. Like, this is not a scary army. See that Sharp has his science facility done, so his +1 weapon or +2 weapon has started. But this is a really, really tough spot to be in. And like I said, Apocalypse is one of those maps where you can siege the main from the low ground. I mean, from outside of their base. You know, it's not like you can siege all of the main, but you can at least start taking down turrets and open up a pathway. Now, Sharp is going to try and make a move on the left side. There is a building at left side. I think a turret is just now started, and it will not complete in time. So maybe Sharp can stall the game out, at least try and deny getting contained on the left side. Like, if he can get some drops towards the left side and take the other main, you know, theoretically he could deny this mid-left base, deny top right, and then maybe go into some type of split map scenario where he can get 5 bases and Terran gets the other 5. That could be a potential play, but that's going to be really hard, I think. More dropships being loaded up. Where does Sharp have his eye set this time around? There's Command Center for Sharp. Going to try and take mid-left, I guess. Meanwhile, despite opening with 3 dropships, it seems like there's still only 3 dropships for KOP. I wonder what his follow-up is. I see he's got a lot of add-ons in his main. He's also sitting on 6 factories, but I don't see him going like BCs or nothing. And he is going to take his 4th base at bottom right. So, despite having the massive contain, doesn't really look like KOP is going to be able to make a deadly wound into Sharp. Sharp's still trying to find the angle of where he can actually go with these dropships. It looks like he's found something, and he is not going to head over to mid-right. I guess there's too many units sitting on that high ground as a rally point for him to feel confident that he could get the damage that he wants done. Great scans again from KOP, just really shadowing where those dropships are. They're never out of vision. You know, I just see another scan go off and he scouts it again. So he really knows exactly where Sharp is. Well, maybe not. Okay, now KOP moving back into position. He's gonna go for it. Wow, it didn't unload. That's a lot of dropships. Wow, that's a lot of tanks for KOP. I mean, boom, goodbye. And that drop was not the drop that Sharp was looking for. And unfortunately for Sharp, because he's so massively contained, like, he couldn't even make a move on the map anywhere else at the same time. A lot of times you do drops to draw units out of position, so you can make like a move straight through the center or something, picking off tanks that are not well defended. But he can't even do that. Like, all he can do is use dropships right now. Again, going through the center, he may get intercepted by these Goliaths. Oh, that is razor thin how lucky he got through that. And actually, he may be able to deny this 4th base. He's unloading on the high ground. Not that many tanks. I guess that's the issue with the drop for me, is he's got a lot of units, but his units aren't very strong. It's 3 tanks. What is it? 6 Goliaths, 6 vultures. If it had been something like 6 tanks, 3 Goliaths, you know, and 6 vultures or something, that could have been a little bit better. But 4th base does not get denied. 4th base for Sharp is going to be up and running at mid-left. Just needs to transfer some SCVs over there. I wonder who's going to be the first one to start going BCs. I see the armory is still spinning for Sharp. I think he has +2 weapon completed, So he may be starting to get some air upgrades in anticipation of a big, massive air battle, or he could be going into +3. You know, in Terran versus Terran, the key power spike is +2. So I'm not sure what you're really getting out of +3, but I know a lot of pro players do go for +3 regardless. That's a lot of dropships. That is a lot of dropships also. 7 dropships for KOP, 6 for Sharp. KOP knows that he doesn't have to attack. He just needs to make sure that he prevents bases and he'll win the game because he just has better territory control. However, Sharp is starting to get some control over the center. Where's this drop going? There's actually not very much at mid-left. And there's no way to reinforce here. Also, KOP I saw has a vessel, so D-Matrix could be amazing. A Doom drop on the mid-left is going to be a dead base. And Sharp, in response, where does he go? He's going to try... Nope, he's kind of hovering around the natural. He's going to try and bust out. This is all he can do. Remember, there's D-Matrix, like I said, and actually KOP did not unload all of the stuff at mid-left. Great D-Matrix, soaks up a lot of the shots and immediately unloads all those tanks. Double D-Matrix, actually. This was a fantastic surround from Sharp, but look at his supply. It's plummeted down to 144. This was as good of an engagement as he could have gotten, and actually really good defense from KOP to not use all of his units at mid-left when he knew he could break it anyways. Now, KOP is going to try and retake this position, but this could be the mistake that Sharp was waiting for. Sharp is going to siege up first with some of his units, but is there too many tanks? That's a huge... Whoa! That's a ton of damage from those tanks from KOP. He takes down like 8 tanks, and now he's going to re-secure this high ground. And what I thought was going to be Sharp being able to actually get the high ground ends up not being the case. KOP is going to hold this position again. He's still up 25 supply. He's killed mid-left. And this is full-on panic mode for Sharp. He's building double command center because he's got a double expand. What else can he use his money on? Like, vultures? Vultures are not going to get out of contain like this. And I like how KOP is not overextending, or not overexpanding, I mean. He knows that he's up a base. If he just matches the eco, he'll win because of his superior positioning. +3 weapon kicked in for somebody. Not sure exactly whose vulture that is, but I think it's Sharp. You know you're desperate when this happens. SCV's being pulled, but there's... Oh my god, that is so many tanks. Goodbye. That's the GG, and that means KOP is going to tie the series 1-1. So KOP getting away with that 14cc really allowed him to streamline his 4-fact build. Brings back the series 1-1. This is going to be the last game for our losers match. KOP, can he do it, man? I think he can. You looked really good in game 2. Let's get into game 3. It's retro. You guys can't see it, but he wrote in the game lobby, Terran Imba. Well, I agree with some of that. I think certain units are definitely Imba, like tanks and vultures, but the others, well, they're probably Imba also, but not as much as those. So in the top right, KOP, and in the bottom left, we have Sharp. And again, another 4-player map. 4-player maps do lead to 1 player. Well, it does lead to games where 1 player will go for a greedy opener, just like what we saw in Apocalypse. I wonder if KOP will risk it again with a 14cc, or if he'll try and play more normal, or if Sharp will actually try and risk going for a 14cc. I think the chances of an 8 racks from KOP happening again is low. So because of that, I would actually really like 14cc from Sharp. Either way, though, the game is going to be great. And we do have Depot in the main, so not going to be any crazy shenanigans going on from either side. Retro, though, it's another map that if you can get good positioning, whether it's outside of the bridge, like the bridge area of your net, or if you can get on top of your opponent's third base, it can be a crippling situation for the opponent. So I'll be looking for KOP in this situation to deny mid-left, or Sharp in this situation to deny mid-right. Now, interesting play from Sharp. He's going to go for a forward Rex. He's expecting it to be a greedy opener, whether it's gasless or 14C, and he's right. The problem is that his barracks is not exactly in the best position. Now, KOP, he's being a little bit more safe this game. He scouted really quickly. He is going for 14cc, and he is going to spot the racks, and this is going to buy him some time because of how annoying this SCV is going to be. If he kills this SCV, this could be a game-winning move for him, because 14cc is so punishing, and he might kill it. Oh, one shot, but either way, it denies the racks from completing. And when you're going for 14cc, you just want this racks to be denied as long as possible. This is a really bad spot for Sharp. He had to pull off 3 SCVs for this, the one building the racks and 2 off of it, or off the mineral line, to just save it. So already, I really do think KOP has got a good advantage here. He's down workers, technically. Not sure, I guess that happened because he scouted so fast, but he'll recover quite nicely with his 14cc. Sharp is going to get a little bit unlucky here. Going to find KOP quite slowly. Also, man, this SCV drew the Marine back into the main, so there's no pressure. This is a really good opener for KOP. It's also cross spawn, so you can't even go for like a quick tank or something and put pressure down, like you're way across the map. This is really, really good. Sharp, of course, still has no idea, and just like on the Apocalypse games, when he sees this, he is going to be tilted out of his mind. You went for 14cc again, man? And you scouted me first? How does that happen? That's probably what he's saying to himself right now. He's going to be moving across with 2 Marines, but the 2 Marines are already out for KOP. He's also, think about last game, KOP built a bunker. He's just now building a bunker, kind of late, like not even before his factory. So this is just an amazing position for KOP. 2 Marines, they are going to try and do some damage. I guess the one thing I could see happening is the Marines run by. It allows the Vulture to run by, and he can get damage done. But I don't expect a pro to allow that to happen, and I don't expect a pro to even attempt that versus another pro. So he is going to back off. The SCV in the main is doing a good job to get intel. Does see that it's a 2-fact follow-up instead of fact port this time. And in Sharp's main, I see another factory coming down for him also. So he's going to match the factories. And remember last game I was talking about how I was surprised that KOP was only up 2 workers. Look at the worker count now. Up 5. Up 6. You know, this is a really big advantage for him. And it is going to be 3-fact for both sides. I think that actually KOP is going to have to build an armory because he doesn't know if there's a Wraith coming. So I guess that could be one way back for Sharp. Since he scouted so long, he knows that there is no Wraith coming at any point, so he doesn't have to build that armory. Whereas KOP does need to respect that there could be Wraiths at any point. There is the Academy. Still no armory just yet. A little bit surprised about that, but he knows better than I do. And right now, we are just waiting for these players to build up their Vulture count and feel like they've got enough to make moves out onto the map. Sharp has hit that critical 44 out of 44. Every Terran knows and loves that 44 supply. I think like 10%, 20% or more Terran players get supply blocked at that amount for whatever reason. But we do have KOP with speed kicking in, and he is going to be the one making a move. He's trying to avoid that racks as long as possible, but now his speed has been shown. I think actually he's down in Vultures by 1, because surprisingly, when you go gas first, even though 14cc has better econ, you don't have as many Vultures in the early game, and he knows it. He gets an instant engagement, he immediately loses 2 of them. Sharp knew that, hey dude, I just have the advantage in the early stages because of my faster factory. So he picks off 3 Vultures, That's exactly what Sharp needs to get back into the game. He's still down 7 workers, but he's at least got map control at this point. He can be the one that puts down mines in the center of the map and gains control over the center. And you can see that in response, Armory is coming down for both sides. Starport coming down for KOP, and a fourth fact coming down for KOP because he needs to start recovering those vultures that he just lost. First tank out for KOP also, but I think there's too many vultures out for him to try and make a push. There's also the fear of mines, of course, but he did rush an academy, so he does have comm stats, and maybe he'll try and make something happen. But in my experience in situations like this, the player that just committed to non-stop vultures can overrun the player that only has 1 tank, especially if that player that built the tank already lost a couple vultures. So do need to be careful, and Sharp is using that trade to his advantage. You can see he's caught up to within 3 workers now. He's also got a supply lead, 90 to 81. And who's going to be the first one to make a move for building a command center? So far, neither player has done so. The vulture count just looks really tiny for KOP. I'm worried that he's going to move out and underestimate how many vultures there actually are for Sharp. I mean, he's just got so many of them. Absolutely so many. Ooh, I think that could be a mistake for KOP. He's got vultures on high ground, but there's just so many vultures for Sharp. I think if Sharp had have just gone for it, maybe he could have won that fight, but instead he backs off, lays some more mines, and KOP, he's going to make a move. Now his army is quite fearsome. It's 4 tanks. Yeah, that's a lot of tanks. But vultures, they deal a lot of damage to each other. Wow, he avoids even the siege mode damage. That's great. Rack's still alive for Sharp, giving him some vision. And here you can see exactly what's going on. A scan going down. I don't know, man. I think Sharp just has so much stuff. Also, there should be a couple tanks out for Sharp pretty soon. Not nearly as many as KOP, of course. Picks off that vulture. And actually, KOP is going to set up not a contain, but kind of going to be going for an attempted split map here. We saw, C do that in ASL, but the difference with this is C was going pure tank. There's more factories for KOP. He's going to be able to actually split the map if he goes for that. And he is taking a 3rd base, just like Sharp is. His own at mid-right. There is a drop moving across the map, and it has gone unspotted. This could do good damage. There are no units in position either, but instead, Sharp is actually moving across the map. Oh, I thought he was going to try and go for a loop around, but not going to be the case. Tank siege up in the main, and this attack I don't think is going to... Oh, actually that tank at the top side is out of position, so the bottom tank may actually rack up quite a few SCV kills. Vulture dropping in the natural also, that's not going to do very much, but the tank in the main, that's pretty nice. Meanwhile, looks like neither player has +1 weapon just yet. So for now, both players are just, full on 5-fact tons of units. Here, a Wraith somewhere. Okay, KOP built a Wraith, but it was immediately denied. And Sharp has his 3rd base up and running, whereas KOP's 3rd base is basically up and running. We've still got about a 10 supply lead for Sharp. I think most of that's in vultures, so I don't think you really need to take much consideration into that supply lead. Now, something to consider now, though, is Sharp knows that these units are out of position. He could go for a bust through the center. I think that would be a wise move. But instead, he is going to loop around the bottom side of the map, and actually there is no vision at the bottom side for KOP. If Sharp loops around towards the 3rd base, this could be devastating. He could easily take out the 3rd base. Look at this, there's 4 vultures, that's it. There's no defense here. Man, the KOP is way out of position. He did scan. He needs to send everything he's got Oh, actually, he didn't scan. It was Sharp scanning for mines. And Sharp scans, and he's going to see, dude, you've got 4 tanks, that's it. Or 4 vultures, even. Oh, if Sharp gets on the high ground, this is going to be such a punishing position. But the vultures are clogging the way. He does get on the high ground. That's all he needs. He just needs 2 tanks. One tank already gone. Another tank is going to fall. The vultures are doing a lot of damage to the tanks and the SCVs. There is no anti-air, though. So the 2 Wraiths could save the day. But KOP is going to lose this entire SCV line. He lost basically all his tanks. Sharp could just back off now if he wants. If there's a Goliath, I think third base will be dead. But so far, no Goliath just yet. And what's KOP going to do in response? He's going to try and cut off reinforcements. I think that's all he can really do. While it's not a Goliath, it's actually an SCV trying to come and repair. So, third base does get denied, but Sharp will lose a lot for this. To lose, what is it, 7 tanks or so? Oh, actually, how did that Goliath get there? So he doesn't lose all these tanks. I thought he for sure was going to lose them all. Loses like 4, maybe? But now, KOP is in real trouble. His third base has been denied. He's going to need to try and get top middle up and running. Sharp is going to have his 4th base denied, but his army comp is much stronger than the comp for KOP. So he'll be able to take this 4th base. And I think now Sharp is feeling really good about his position. He can take bottom middle. He can start trying to take all of bottom right, trying to split the map. And if you're KOP here, how do you get back into this game? It's going to be hard to retake the third base. I think he needs to start going into drops. But drops are really expensive. And, you know, he's kind of extended all over the map. He's trying to contain the center while trying to prevent reinforcements at bottom right, while also trying to prevent an attack at top middle. I don't think he can hold all these positions. I think if Sharp goes for another consolidated attack, this time go up towards the top side, he could shut down that base. But instead, he's fine with just expanding. I think, at least I think he's fine with expanding. And look at this. He did exactly what I said. He's pushing the top side of the map. There's no defense here. It's 1 tank. This is just really hard to manage. You're down 30 supply. He's trying to hold 3 fronts, the bottom bridges, the middle of the map, and the top side of the map all at the same time. He does have +2 weapon, so that will allow his tanks to be obviously much stronger. Are those Wraiths? Oh my. I didn't even know he was building a Wraith. And apparently KOP didn't either, because he has no Goliaths, he has no Wraiths himself, and all these tanks are going to die. And that's going to just open a huge pathway for Sharp to exploit. He can go straight through the center, all the way towards... What? There's a command center sitting in the middle of the map? Well, unfortunately, I don't think KOP can stop this army. This is a huge army. There's definitely not enough anti-air. There's still no anti-air. Tanks are going to die in the center of the map. Vultures can just lead the charge and soak up the hits. This command center is dead. That is a lot of tanks. I will give him that. But how do you stop these Wraiths? There's still no Goliaths, by the way. Oh my gosh, it took so long to get here. And it's now going to be Sharp, the one that controls the center of the map, saying, hey, you are not allowed to have this base. I'm not going to take it either, but you are definitely not allowed to have it. Also, those units at the bottom side of the map were stuck because there's no way for Goliath to get there, so that got cleaned up. He's going to reinforce the mid-right position even more. More tanks are dying. KOP's falling apart. I think he's just got to go for the Hail Mary. I think he realizes that also, but Sharp, he knows that it's coming. So he's already in siege. He's already got all of his units here. Oh my gosh, a single mine killed all of the Goliaths except for 1. That means if the Wraiths come in here, they can kill everything. Supplies have plummeted for KOP, down to 120. The writing is on the wall at this point. KOP, he has to somehow stabilize the center, or, you know, somehow stabilize top left also, so he can start expanding there, but Sharp's already there. He's already there. Unless there's some type of race switch that I'm not seeing, he's just lost complete control. He's down 60, so he lost his last remaining Goliath. This entire army is going to get blown up. And that means that Sharp, he is going to take game 3, and he will be eliminating KOP in Group B. So, well done from Sharp there. 14cc is really hard to play against. I think KOP was in a better position than he was even in game 1. Like, he had such an advantage in the workers, but he forgot that just because you have an advantage in econ doesn't mean you have an advantage in vulture count. And Sharp knew that he had the vulture advantage temporarily, exploited that, and at that point, you know, it's just really hard to control the map. And of course, the attack at mid-right was amazing for him. So well done for him. He'll be moving into the deciders match where he'll be getting a rematch versus Motive. So let's get into game 1 of that series. Again, it's going to be Dark Origin, and we're going to see if Motive can prove that the first team is not a fluke, or if Sharp will get revenge in this match. So, in the top left, it is Motive, and in the bottom right, we have Sharp. So Sharp looking for some revenge here. Dark Origin, tough map in general, PvP, because of all the shenanigans that Protoss can pull off. But if you can get into the mid game in a decent spot, if you get your 3rd base up and running, if you get your 4th base up and running, it is really hard to beat Terran at that point. Like, I can't even tell you how hard it is. So I think if Motive wants to win, I don't think he's going to win like he did on Retro, where he just let Sharp get his, you know, 3 bases, 4 bases, and then hit a timing and Sharp falls apart. I really don't see that happening here. I think this map is too good for Terran defensively. And we do have another Pylon Scout for Motive. This should be for a gas steal. Now you've got a lot of options with this. You gas steal into Nexus, you gas steal into Pressure, force the Terran player to build a lot of Marines, you know, deal with Zealot Pressure. And it seems like that's going to be the case, because there goes the gateway. And I will say this about Sharp's racks and depot placement. A little interesting. There's the gap between the command center and the depot. There's no depot on the bottom side of the command center either to, you know, boost SCVs towards the minerals. I don't think I've ever seen someone build their Sim City like this. So we'll see how this plays out. Pro being a nuisance like expected. Okay, I'm imagining that's kind of low. Yeah, I was sitting there watching, like, I think he's hit him like almost 9 times or so. And he knocked him down to 15 health. Forces out a repair, that's nice. Now, in Motive's main, no gas for him. That does signal to me that this is going to be Zealot into Nexus. But it could just be a delayed cybernetic score, of course. eBay block for Sharp. This is always annoying. I really do like this move. What this does is forces a lot of probes off the line, or it keeps the second Zealot back. And if you keep the second Zealot back, you know, you're not really that afraid of just one Zealot. So good move from Sharp. And, oh, bunker's late, man. This could start spiraling out of control. Oh, no, it's not. I thought that probe was a Zealot, so I take that back. Bunker is going to be in time. And as long as Sharp continues to build Marines... Oh, we got another eBay block off. That's great. We'll see if he cancels it, though. Oh, he did. So, you know, he spent like 25 minerals there to deny the Nexus, about 5 or so seconds. Not really the biggest of deals. And we do have the Zealots syncing up with each other outside of the natural pretty soon. Or maybe not, maybe that was a probe. So just one Zealot holding the line outside of the natural. Meanwhile, Marines respecting the potential for the run-by, so that's why you see the SCVs attacking the gas. And I think that is a probe at bottom left, so that probe could be up to something unusual. Is he going to mine out that back mineral patch? That is an option. He could build an assimilator down there and eventually mine it out. I don't think I've ever seen a Protoss player do that, though. And that is not going to happen. Gas going to be taken from Sharp right now. Just now, Motive completed his gas, so Cybernetics and Tech is going to finally start coming in pretty soon. But so far, everything looks like a normal build, or normal openers, I would say. I would say, actually, I like Sharp's position, just because as a Terran player, if I get my command center down at a decent time, relative to Protoss's Nexus, and I haven't taken damage, I'm okay with that. So, I think Sharp could be feeling pretty good about his spot. I think he'll probably go into Factory Academy, try and figure out what Motive is doing, and also a fast armory so he can respond appropriately. And the Zealot does just poke in. And you can see that Sharp, he's aware that the back mineral patch could get mined, so he's got a couple Marines over there just waiting. Make sure that that does not get mined out. There's the first factory coming down. Robo coming down for Motive. I imagine this is going to be for straight Reaver. I don't think there's really any reason to go for Observatory. After openers like this, there's the second factory for Sharp. Everything looks very normal to me. He did just send down an SCV to build something. Could be eBay, could be Academy, could be Depot. I think it's an Academy or the Armory. And SCV does, see that there is gas mining at the natural, but doesn't really signal anything. If this was a normal opener, oh my gosh, how he gets in. Okay, well, he just sees it again. If this was a normal opener, I think seeing a second gas this quickly does signal that it's carriers or arbiters, but for this, you can't really read too much into it. And there is the Academy as expected and Armory. So Sharp doing pretty much exactly what I was saying. You really need the Armory, of course, for the shuttle, and then you need the Academy to figure out what the hell Protoss is doing. Now, one thing to point out, I guess, is I don't think Sharp actually built an eBay. If this was straight DT, I think he would have been dead. So, got a little bit lucky with that. But there is the support bay coming in, and it is going to be straight Reaver. And Motive, he's got a probe over on the left side, expecting that to be for third Nexus pretty soon. Or maybe he's gonna, yeah, third Nexus right there. I thought he might be taking a third Nexus at top right, but I think that probe's up there just to put pylons in case there is a drop. Whoa, okay. Range wasn't even actually done yet. Saw that Cybernetic spinning and I actually thought he was getting weapon on air, but not the case. There is a shuttle. I was about to say, that Reaver could not have completed that fast. It is just double Zealot. He's trying to force a pull, but you can see Sharp. Oh, actually, Sharp did pull his SCVs. He ends up getting one. A lot of players will wait until they see the Reaver to pull, because if there's no Reaver, where's the threat, right? Like, you don't want to pull your whole mineral line unless you are fearing that you're going to lose a lot of SCVs at once. Either way, good drop from Motive. What was an even worker count all of a sudden is 48 to 37. I don't even know what happened here. I guess he put on ComSat, so that's partially the reason. But is it 4 fact follow-up? Maybe 3 fact follow-up for Sharp? I think it's a 4. No, that's an eBay. So it's 3 fact. That could be a 4th fact coming down. Yep, 4 fact. Now, if this was 4 GG, I would say this is for a timing. But, meta these days is to go 4 fact expand. So I think this is going to be Sharp just expanding. Trying to take his own third base and try and play a macro game from there. Now that shuttle should have that bad boy loaded up in there. Reaver should be in there. And this time around, Sharp really does need to respect the shuttle coming into his main. Not a lot of action this game. Despite it being gateway opener, forward gate, Zealot never actually got in. Shuttle did not have a Reaver for a long time. Terran hasn't made any Vulture run-bys. It's very rare in pro games that you see games like this where both players are just content with macroing, and, well, we see why Sharp is not making any moves. It's because he's got 6 fact as a follow-up. He's going to go for the throat here. He wants to end this game, try and catch Protoss catch them sleeping with a lack of units. But I don't know how well that will work, because as I stated, Dark Origin is hard to attack across the bridges. I will say, Protoss' gateway count seems low. What is it, at like 4 or 5 right now? And I don't think an observer has gotten in to see what Terran is doing. So unless Protoss can really have his star sense tingling here, he could be in trouble, because 6 fact is going to be really hard to stop unless you've got something like 8 or 10 gateways. I'm surprised. Oh, actually, Shuttle has gotten through the bottom side of the map, and he avoided all of the turrets, and he is in here. Now he's going to see the factory count. I think for now he's only seen 4. Tank gets caught. Ooh. Every SCV is going to matter with this timing. Oh! Okay, that was only like a couple. Oh, that's more than a couple. He gets 2 or 3 more. Reaver does die, though. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's worth. He does lose his Shuttle and Reaver, and the timing is coming. He also only killed 1 tank. So, this is going to be a really strong push. You can see that Motive now knows the bad news, that a timing is coming. He's starting to put down some more gateways. He's got Zealots coming out. But those Zealots did not have speed. But as I stated, it's hard to get across the bridges for both sides. The Goons can try and hold the line here and buy time as long as possible. It's a 30 supply lead for Motive. Actually, Sharp has decided that he can't make an attack. He's building a command center, and I guess Motive technically hasn't spotted it yet. So this is kind of a smart move. Force Protoss into all-in gateway man while you take a 3rd base and just sit behind your tanks. That's actually pretty genius. I will say Sharp needs to start building more workers if he's going to do that. 43 SCVs is kind of low. I hope he does build, you know, at least 6 to 7 more, at least get up to 50. But for now, he is in an okay spot. I am worried about that mine that is sitting under those 5 tanks. That could be a disaster, to say the least, if a Zealot unloads there. I wonder if Motive actually saw it. I don't think he did. But if he can unload something there, we could see a big explosion and a big swing in supply. Another Shuttle is moving towards the right side. He is going to unload and deny this turret. I actually killed the turret, not just denied, so he can deny the 3rd base also for a while. This is annoying. This draws all the tanks back. Now Motive knows that he's not under threat of being hit with a bus. He can start thinking about going into his Templar tech or Arbiters if he wants. Nice move there. Does take a lot of damage on his Shuttle though. Loses a Reaver. Shuttle is dangerously low. It's like 1 hit away, so he does need to be very careful with that. But Motive could potentially go for a bus. Look at his supply. He's up 70 supply. 20 of it is in workers, of course, so it is a 50 army advantage. He's got speed. I think you got to go. Yeah, he's gonna jump on this. This is just so much stuff. Can Sharp hold this? I guess he will technically. It is risky to make a move past the bridges like this. I actually think Motive could have won there. It would have been close though. The tank count is really high. You don't know about how many mines are set up. Motive in response is just going to back off, and he's already got his 4th Nexus up at top right. So he already had a backup plan, contingency plan. He's got 65 probes. His econ is great. Meanwhile, Sharp is struggling at just 48 workers. I don't even know what his upgrades are. Remember, he went into 6 fact, so his +2 is, it should be delayed. It should take him a while to get the powerful +2 power spike. And Sharp, he's going to be in a bit of trouble now. Even if he gets his 4th base, by the time he gets his 4th base, I think it's going to be quite a while. Motive will probably have mined out a lot of top right and may have taken bottom left. And it's going to be a dicey situation. If Protoss is on 6 bases and you're on 4, it's going to be a little rough dealing with that. And I like how Motive transferred a lot of probes up here. Like, he didn't skimp out. He didn't, you know, send like 7 or 8. Like, he's actually sent enough probes to be mining efficiently up there. So it is on Sharp to make a move to do something about top right, because that could be a mined out base if he's not quick on the gun. Another shuttle coming in. Oh, those Templars. Okay, he ends up saving 3 of them, so that's nice. But that was a good pick off from Sharp to knock that down. I actually think Motive doesn't have a lot of gas income, even though we haven't seen the third base. I'm looking at the minimap. He just now transferred probes there, and I'm not sure if he even transferred probes to his gas at top right. Okay, he does. He did. So he does have a lot of gas income coming in now. So now that he's got the big eco or the big gas influx, maybe consider going into Stargate or something. Look how many factories there are, though. There's 8 facts for Sharp. He's really ramping up his production. Still down 40 supply. And for now, Motive is content with just sitting here, holding the bridges. He ends up losing 3 Templars. That was a nice move from Sharp, but I'm still not too thrilled with Sharp's position. I feel like he needs to make a move on his 4th base, otherwise the eco gap is just going to be too much to overcome. Meanwhile, Motive, oh my gosh, he's having a best moment. Moving around the map without observers, takes a couple of big hits. Doesn't lose that much, thankfully. Now I've seen, oh wow, is he gonna go? There isn't a lot of stuff here for Terran, but they're gonna trade, or he's gonna trade really well with just a handful of tanks and a lot of mines. Templar unloads, but there's not much to storm. That was a really good trade for Terran right there. Loses 3 tanks, not many vultures, and kills a lot of stuff with just like a couple of random mines. What I was gonna say is I've seen Light do stuff like that on this map. Like, he commits very little, and Protoss has to throw so much at it just to get rid of a couple tanks. Like, it's surprisingly strong how a couple tanks and like a depot and random mines are. Oh man, more mines dealing damage, more zealots dying. Motive needs to get some observers out on the map. Can't afford to bleed units like this. There's the observer and oh, okay. He does catch Terran a little bit sleeping with his positioning, but overall, really good move out from Sharp. Catches a few more Templars. He's killed like 8 Templars or something by now. Protoss is maxed though, and Terran is still struggling at 140. I did see the Science Facility and Science Vessel are both completed. So D-Matrix on the menu, +2 weapon could be on the menu pretty soon. Not sure exactly what the upgrades are. More zealots bleeding off. You gotta be careful. Good storm. Needs a few more storms though. So many tanks here. Not a lot of support for the tanks though. I think if Motive could just throw his entire army there, he would overwhelm those tanks. But where is his supply? Like, he's maxed, but his army looks tiny. Okay, there it is. It's reinforcing across the bridges. I think you gotta go now. Oh, nope. I don't know. Goliath's trying to save the day with the kills on the shuttle. That mine blew up so many tanks, and half of the tank count for Sharp gets eviscerated in an instant. However, there's still a lot of tanks left over, and these tanks melted the Dragoons on the left side of the map. The minerals, or the probes on those minerals at mid-left have also got taken down. What was like 65 workers for Protoss is now 53. If Terran denies this base and also denies bottom left, Terran will get into the situation I was talking about, where they're on 4 bases, they split the map, and Protoss is in trouble. Oh, I don't know about this. Shuttle man with low eco, not great tech. This could get ugly. He needs to get rid of these tanks. Instead, he's going to go for a counter. There's a lot of shuttles here. Not a lot of mines. Not a lot of anti-air either. So all these shuttles should unload. How many storms are available? Is there any Templars? Okay, there's one. That's a good storm. Another good storm. Need some more storms. I don't know. At least he forced the SCVs to stop mining, but in the end, what did Terran lose? Not very many SCVs. He lost vultures. Protoss lost a decent amount of shuttles, lost all their goons and zealots there, obviously, and he lost an Archon. And I think Sharp should be feeling pretty good about that trade. He still needs to be careful, of course, though, because even though that was a good trade for him, he's still down 30 supply. Protoss still has 4 bases. It is getting weird for Protoss, though, now that they have lost mid left and I think is about to lose bottom left. Sharp, this is a dangerous area. There's been so many games where I feel like I'm in a good spot, and then Protoss barrels down like this with also storm drops, and you lose your whole army. However, that was a good trade for Sharp again. Still a 30 supply lead though. Server gets taken down. Where are these shuttles going? A Reaver. Well, if he can save bottom left, that would be a critical move, because I think Sharp's priority is saving, or is getting his 4th base. No way. He saves his base? Really? That's a big save. That is a huge save. I don't think Sharp can afford to send units to bottom left while he's trying to take his own 4th base. So that's a clutch save right there. Protoss needs to transfer some drones over there to get that up, or transfer some pros over there to get that up and running. Oh, maybe the vultures will kill it. Nope. Reaver here to save the day. And Protoss still has a massive army on the right side. We've got... Okay, actually, I don't know. Sharp has decided that maybe the mid-right base is too hard to get. He's going to go for another counter over on the left side. This is a lot of tanks, a lot of mines, a lot of Goliaths. Protoss' army over on the right side isn't making any moves towards the center at all. Okay, now finally he's moving over here. And again, it looks like this 4th base is going to be denied. There are so many mines here. Sharp has done a really good job to lay as many mines as possible. He denies the mid left, but he doesn't kill bottom left. Is he really going to attack through the center? I mean, Sharp is maxed out, but there's so many mines here. This is dangerous. If Zealots drop on top of these tanks, you're going to have another big mine explosion. Another good storm. One EMP already went off. I'm not sure how many more storms are available. The shuttles have gone unscouted. He's going to try and loop in through the back. Goliath and turrets. Can they save the day? There's that's a lot of firepower right there. Reaver and Storms blinking so many SCVs. Look how many SCVs are dying. Down to 28 workers. We saw this just like in game 1. Big worker trade. However, Terran's army, what was massive, somehow it's down to 100 now. All the tanks are exposed. But there's only goons. These goons are going to get caught, man. So Protoss is going to lose a lot of stuff here. But Terran lost a lot of stuff also. It's 143 to 97, 23 worker gap. So it's like only a 20 army advantage for Protoss. Oh, Zealot Bomb does not trigger any mines. Back into the 3rd base again. All of these SCVs are dangerously low. Where's the storm? Not able. Oh, he does get one. He kills some more SCPs. There's another good storm. Hits some tanks in the back. Another good storm. Gets some more tanks. And what this is doing is it's softening up the tanks while also buying time for Protoss to build up his own army. Another storm gets... No more SCVs there. But does a lot of damage. And just like in game 1, I think Sharp, you just got to make a move here. You got to go for the killing move at top right. Got to knock down a base. Meanwhile, Protoss army, again, it just permanently looks tiny. 4 goons there. More shuttles coming in. Where are the vultures? There are no vultures. Goliath gets a D-matrix. A lot of the tanks are clumped up. Good storms. I think there's just too much Protoss. Maybe not. Maybe not. I thought there were more goons than there actually were. There's a probe transfer down the bottom left, so Moto's going to get that base up and running. He's technically on 2 base mining now because his main Nat third are all mined out. Top right is getting close to getting mined out also. Sharp, he's not out of it. His army is huge. He's got his third base still running. His fourth base is technically running, but I think Motive just made a move over there with a couple of units, so that's going to be denied. Reaver trying to hold the high ground, but you can only hold it for so long. It gets taken down. 6 tanks and what is it, 5 Goliaths? I don't think it's enough. I think Motive's army is too huge. Look how many goons and zealots and Templars are coming. He needs like an EMP to hold this. I'm not sure if he has that. Vultures, they're running in to save the day, but the Protoss army is going to back off. I guess there is a little bit too much Terran deep. Oh my gosh. Oh! More crippling damage onto that SCV line. But again, another wild game here. You would think Protoss should have it, but Terran's army is surprisingly strong. I think Protoss has gotten a little bit too many goons, zealots, and Templars. Is that still not going to die? Okay, it is finally going to die. And a 50 supply lead for Motive at this point. This is still very, very close, though. I could see like an EMP changing the tides of this game immediately. If you think you have Storm and you actually don't and overcommit your units, that could be a massive swing in Terran's favor. Motive doing a really good job clearing out all the mines. Wow, long distance mining of probes at the mid-right base. That's when you know this game is epic. That's when you know the Protoss player is desperate for resources. I don't think that Sharp can really do anything about it. He has his racks or something floating over there, so he sees it's happening, but he doesn't have any actual units he can commit over there to prevent Protoss from getting those extra resources. And look at that third base. It's skimpy. There's almost no minerals left to mine. So this is kind of it for Sharp. Maybe he can do like one more cycle of units or so, and that's it. Yeah, the amount of money coming up for Sharp, or the amount of money being returned to Sharp is just so low. You can see how slow his resources are going up. He does have double vessel, like I said. If he can land some clutch EMPs, that could be game-changing, but that's the only way he's going to get back in this base. Back into this game. He needs to float like every building he has to soak up hits and just hope for the best engagement possible. The tank count, what is it, at 6? Heard Templar get sniped. That's a good start for him. Well, there's a good EMP. He needs to hit that back line though. So he's already hit a lot of the goons with EMP. If he can hit the back line with an EMP onto those Templars so there's no storm, maybe he can hold with this army. Good storm goes off. D-Matrix goes off. Yeah, but there's just never-ending storms here, man. There's so many of them. Good focus fire by the tanks to take down some of the Templars, but just too many storms, too many goons, too many zealots. Vultures not able to get enough damage done. Heard a scan go off. I imagine a GG scan coming down pretty soon. But Sharp does hold. If you look at Protoss' army, it is quite tiny. Critically down, there's no Goliath to push back the shuttle, so these Reavers are insane. He can just run in here, and oh, there's one Goliath. But if he pops the Goliath, there's no way to push the shuttle back. And if that fall, yep, it fell, and that means that he can just pick off tanks left and right. Sharp, he's trying to do what he can with his Vulture, just trying to intercept probes, but it's just too much. There's too much Protoss now. Sharp is, I see the mineral patches, the patches disappearing as we speak at the third base. So this is it. He can build like maybe 1 or 2 more tanks, and that's it. He needs to have like the best D-Matrixes and EMPs of all time. Somehow kill these Reavers. Otherwise, he's going to lose game 1. Well, we killed a Templar. That's good. I like what Motive is doing, though. He knows his win condition. He knows that this guy's desperate for money. He doesn't have to attack. No need to attack through the bridges. and risk running through mines and losing your entire army. He's got his 4th base finally retaken at mid-left. So that's going to be a good influx of econ for him. Terran's still not giving up, though. Is this the last stand? It's like 7 tanks, 3 Goliaths, a couple of Ultras, D-Matrix on the front tank. Reaver, or Shuttle and Reaver get taken out. Is there enough Protoss? Reaver dies. Where are the Storms, though? I can't believe that that was not enough stuff. Terran pushes it back again. There is still so many goons here, though. 3 Templars. One of them gets immediately blown up. Wow, if you look at Motive's eco, he's basically not mining either. He just has mid-left. He had 37 minerals a minute ago. He's transferring all of his pros from top right. If Sharp can push through these goons, he could actually start mining his base. 39 supply to 73, 3 tanks, 3 Goliaths, 2 vessels. There's only 6 goons and like 5 Templar. Good storm. Blankets all the tanks, or 2 of the tanks, 2 out of the 3. These Goliaths are very, very low. There's the EMP that I was waiting for. EMP. What is going on in this game? Terran is going to get this base. How? And that's a lot of workers to transfer. Full transfer of workers. He's got 19 workers. Terran doesn't have to attack top right anymore. It's a mined out base. No need to attack. Just has to hold top or mid right. 3 goons. This is free supply. Get it. Oh, he lost the vessel. Maybe don't go for it. Oh, the shuttle. You know what's in there. It's either a Reaver or a Storm. And he doesn't see. Oh, he does see it. Oh my. So these 3 Goliaths and 2 tanks, they got to do work. Sharp just ate a massive storm. He lost 11 workers there. Protoss has 2 Templars, 3 goons, 1 Zealot, and an Archon. 11 kills on that Archon. Obscene. But we're in another situation where neither player's mining. A cannon kills a Goliath. Every unit matters at this point. Wonder what Motive is thinking. Like, he sees that there's not much supply here, but I wonder if he thinks there's like actual other units on the map. Because he doesn't know. Like, the SCVs didn't mine that long at mid-right, but they may have mined enough to like get a couple of Ultras out or a couple tanks. Terran is gonna try and escort these units back. I think Motive, you gotta jump on this army before they get across the bridges. This is your best opportunity to attack, and here he goes. Archon unloads, Templar unloads, gets off a storm, and that's gonna be all she wrote. Finally, in this game, Motive will win, and he's now won 2-0 overall versus Sharp. He won in game 1 in the opening match. Now he's won in game 1 of our finals best of 3 series. This guy is playing absolutely crazy. Both games I thought Sharp was gonna be in a good position once he got into a split map scenario, but the storms were relentless. Oh man, crazy game. I think Sharp did a really good job. I can't believe it actually came down to being that close. I thought for sure there's no way he's getting the 4th base, but hey, let's get into game 2. Motive now 1 game away from making it out, and Sharp 1 game from being eliminated. Right in the top middle, I'm Terran. This Sharp. Bottom left. It's Motive. So far, Motive's playing really well, even when he's getting into Gateway Man, and I think that Sharp's got a good counter. He's making it work. The Templars are doing devastating damage. I think now that Motive's up 1-0, he could go for a risky opener, and because of that, I hope we get to see a 12 Nexus. It's also very good on Apocalypse for whatever reason, whether it's because the spawns are far away, or you know, you have a 50-50 shot, you don't get scouted. I find 12 Nexus to be hard to punish on this map. We do have pylon in the main this time. No forward gate. And we do have very fast scout again from Motive. So he wants to know what Sharp is up to. And he's going to get lucky this time. Find him in the first position. And because he finds him in the first position, he might be able to gas steal again. I wonder if Sharp will cut an SCV to make sure that that doesn't happen. Anytime I get first scouted on Apocalypse or a 4-player map or something like that, I'm kind of tilted because you get gas stolen like this, and you can't do anything about it. So there it is, the gas steal. And I imagine we're going to have the same opener from our Protoss player, plugging a couple of Zealots into Nexus. Oh man, almost lost that probe. Really good surround from Sharp right there, good attempt. Actually, he's pulled off onto the gas faster than I expected. Now, this can be a little risky because you lose a lot of minerals doing this. Like if Motive had just canceled that gas, those 4 SCVs that are attacking the assimilator, you know, that's like, what, maybe 40, 50 lost minerals, and your gas is late also. But he is going to let it complete. He could actually... Oh, he got the SCV. I can't believe he got that SCV. He may be able to double gas steal because 4 SCVs actually have pretty high DPS. That should be an already burning. Oh, and he did double gas steal. Ugh, this is a nightmare scenario for Sharp. This could not have gone worse for him. He's now got 5 SCVs mining gas, or attacking that assimilator. The probe's like, well, you better attack me, bro, because if you don't, I'm going to kill you. He's already gotten 1 kill. And the Zealot is halfway across the map. Now, the Sim City is good for Sharp, but a 250 gas, absolute disaster for him. And it is going to be the same opener. It is going to be 2 Zealots, Nexus. If I'm Motive here, I'm feeling fantastic about how this has gone. Now, he does need to make sure he doesn't lose his first Zealot. He's taking a lot of damage. He's lost the probe. I'm not sure about that raid. By the time the second Zealot gets here, 5th Marine is going to be close to being out, and then I think this push, or this Zealot pressure is kind of done. But he's overextending, he's so far forward. However, the second Zealot is out no man's land. Oh no. Well, he does get 1 Marine. Does get a 2nd Marine. I think that went as well as it possibly could have gone for Motive for as far as that Zealot went without any support. He does get 2 Marines. He manages to keep the other Zealot alive. He's coming in for round 3 now. That Zealot got focused down. Yeah, this was an overextension. He's going to damage these Marines, but I don't think he's really going to get much other than that. Yep, bleeds off. And Motive, back in his main, I don't see any more gateways. Remember last game he skipped Cybernetics range for a really long time. I wonder if he'll do the same thing this time, or if he'll try and put some pressure down onto this command center. Meanwhile, Sharp's factory is... Well, I see it started, but I'm not sure how far along it is. Second factory actually coming down for him. He is doing the same build he did last game. Wow, there's so many Zealots this time. He built, what is it, 5 Zealots? For real? I guess he is going to use it with his shuttle, but I don't know what the purpose of the 5 Zealots are. Maybe he's going to run by. Wow, this is an anti-timing for him. Right when the SCVs get pulled and when the barracks lands. Those Zealots took a decent chunk of damage. I think that could be 2-fact starport. Yep. I think that's a starport in his name. He's going to ramp up his production while also probably trying to go for a vulture drop at some point. Also maybe going the starport so that he can get a fast raid, because, you know, that Robo was really fast last game. It got to Sharp's base before he even had a Goliath, and he may be thinking that, hey, I need a little bit better anti-air defense, and that could be another reason for rushing the starport. Double add-on for Sharp. This could be for mines and speed. He's of course going to build some tanks, but this really does look like it's going to be for a drop now. We'll see what that starport's going to do. Is he going to get the add-on? And the answer is Yes, it is going to be Vulture drop this time. And the Vulture moves out even in front of the Goon. I think Motive, seeing this Vulture, may be expecting a drop now, because when factories are this late, it's very rare to be able to get a Vulture out this safely. So I think Motive can already deduce that drop could be coming. Now Vulture gets all the way to the third base. We'll see there's no Nexus. And I like what Motive has done with these Zealots. You can see he scouted all of the right side. A lot of Terran players will proxy a starport, and the Zealot would have found it. So that was really good intuition there. It doesn't find anything, of course, but it was good scouting in general to do that. Good control from Motive to deny that Vulture, and ends up taking it out also, so that's really good for him. However, I see that his units are out of position for now. In Dark Origin, he had like, was it? No, it wasn't Dark Origin. It was Retro. He had 3 goons in his main in anticipation of a drop, but it never came. But this time, there is no defense for him in his main, and these Vultures could do devastating amounts of damage. And there is that drop, and we're going to get into a situation where the dropship is in the main, the shuttle is outside. Where's he going? Okay, yeah, there it goes. And the shuttle is en route to Terran's base. This is an anti-timing for Motive. Just out of I like how he sent a Vulture out in the front to draw units out of position. Like, hey, look here. But hello, the drop is actually in the main. So far, an instant pull. That was a really good reaction for Motive. Loses 4 probes, and I guess that's all he's going to get, but 4 is enough, and he's going to save all but one of the Vultures. However, Reaver drop into the main of Terran. Looks like Terran's already ready, though. I don't think it's going to do any... Oh, Zealot drop. Reaver unloaded. No damage done just yet. They got 1 tank, but there's the Wraith, and he immediately kills it. Reaver got off 2 kills, forces an SCV pull. I don't think that was enough damage. Terran's even in supply, has even worker count, and he still has the drops. Really good defense from Sharp right there, and you know, it was solid defense from Protoss, but just not as good. Third Nexus already done, though, it seems. So 3 base econ going to be coming in, and Sharp is setting up like he's going to build a 3rd command center. So here comes that drop. Look at the Vultures intercept the probes during the transit. He unloads 1 at the 3rd. Oh my gosh, he's killing so many probes in the middle of the transfer, and he's at the natural. Is it Boxer, man? He's everywhere. He loads up the Vulture, saves it. Kills another probe. I still hear probes dying. Oh my god. That was insane multitask, and the Vulture's still alive. There's 1 in the main now. Well, it was, what was it, 46 workers to 45? Now it's 51 to 37. Incredible damage from Sharp. Absolutely nuts damage. And that may trigger a flood of factories in just a second. We do have yep, there's the factories being flooded right now. So absolutely nuts damage. 3rd command center coming up also, so it doesn't put him all in. But that was game changing for sure. Now in Sharp's main, I don't remember seeing an armory, but I'm sure he has one. I'm sure +1 will be completing somewhat soon. Another Reaver being loaded up. Turrets being spammed all over. And I don't really see an opening for Motive to exploit. Goon's going to try and come in here and do something, but I don't think you can really do much about this. Is he going to go? There's so many tanks. There's a lot of anti-air with the Marines. The turret and the Wraith. Wow, this was a disaster. He just taps out immediately because of how much of a disaster that was. He didn't kill a single tank, and that means Sharp is going to tie up the score 1-1. Really good hold with the drop from Sharp. Really good counter drop and 3rd base harassment with the Vulture. I think Motive with the 5 Zealots. You know, when you go for a fast Nexus like that, you need to also get the fast tech. But because he built so many Zealots, you know, it kind of stagnated a lot of his build. I didn't really like it. Also, he overextended with the Zealots. So hopefully in Game 3 he can come up with something different, because this is his last life and he's going up against one of the best Terrans. So let's get into Game 3. It is, of course, retro. All right, final game of the day. It's been a marathon. Almost every game today has been like 20 minutes long. In the top left, we've got Motive, and in the bottom right, our Brown Terran. It is Sharp. So Motive, he needs to channel his inner Super Saiyan right here. He needs to take down Sharp here so he can continue his tournament. Meanwhile, same thing for Sharp. He needs to bring it in Game 3. Motive has been a formidable opponent in this group. And I do hope he does 12 Nexus this time. He's gotten good spawns for it. Cross spawn. It would allow him to just have mega econ. And so far, the timings from Sharp, like, they really haven't worked out that well. Like, you know, his 6-fact on Dark Origin, you know, kind of got denied. His 4-fact into Expansion, it was not bad, but you know, the bust for Motive kind of denied that. So I do hope Motive can get this get a 12 Nexus off and just really ramp up his eco. But it does look like it's going to be another gateway opener from him. He didn't scout really quickly this time, so I imagine this is going to be normal 11 gas into cybernetics. Meanwhile, Sharp, all right, kind of racks in between the ramp and the main. This is going to be most likely an 11 gas. Yep, there it is. And this is going to allow him that quick vulture that I was talking about earlier. It's really good versus 12 Nexus. You can actually get some probe kills versus the 12 Nexus because the goons aren't out in time. And if there is quick zealots with a forward gate or something, you of course have the quick vulture to support your Marines. SCV being sent out to bottom left. Unlucky scout path for him. Gonna find Motive either second or last. And Motive not scouting at all. This may just be a goon expand into Nexus. I wonder if he'll go for something risky. You know, actually, thinking back to the games that we've seen of Sharp, he's been skipping his eBay for a while. If this is a straight Citadel, I could see Motive just outright ending the game. SCV confirms there's nothing at bottom left. Motive, cybernetics about to finish. No movement from the probes. And 150 for him. What's he gonna spend it on? Is he gonna spend it on range? Looking at that gas, where's it gonna go? It is going to not go into anything, and it is instead going into a Nexus. So Goon Nexus, no range, no scout. You can punish this with a Marine Vulture rally across the map. It is cross spawn though. That's going to make it a little bit more difficult to make work. But it is definitely possible. And Sharp, well, if he scouted a little bit faster, maybe he could have done it. But I think at this point, he's just going to be content with going for 2 Marine expanding. Actually got a little bit lucky here, just building 2 Marines, building his command center. Allow him to get that command center a little bit faster than usual. That is an extremely quick robo. 325 robo, something like that. Really, really fast. And if he can hold the ramp here and prevent the SCV from getting in, that would be massive. And he does. And now, Motive could potentially have a really, really fast Reaver drop. He could get in there before turrets are done or Goliaths are done. And that could rack up a lot of damage. You know, in the Dark Origin game where he sent out the shuttle with just the 2 zealots, if he sends the shuttle again, Sharp may be thinking like, dude, this is so fast, there's no way that you can actually have a Reaver. But hello, there actually is one, and Sharp may actually lose a lot of workers. Now this Vulture got across the map, snipes a probe, doesn't get much else though, doesn't get in, because Motive smartly left his goon on the ramp. And I wonder what Sharp is thinking. I wonder if he thinks that this could be DT follow-up. Is he concerned about fast robo? You know, is this 2-gate goons or something? I think now he knows that it's not range because the Vulture saw how little range the goon has. And now it can only be two things. It's either DT, fast Reaver, and I guess it technically could be Stargate, but nobody rushes Stargate like that. So I don't think he'll be thinking that it is Stargate. Second gateway coming in Sharp's main, I think Armory is coming down. Yeah, Armory and Academy, I'm pretty sure are those two buildings. Second factory coming in for Sharp also. Ooh, these Marines got across the map somehow. And this is a lot of vultures. 3 vultures. I can tell you this probe is not expecting these units to be here. Wow, immediate response from Motive. I can't believe he saved that probe. And Motive's in a little bit of a danger here. Oh, maybe not. Wow. I can't believe Motive rushed a robo to just get an observer out this fast. If I was Protoss, I feel like rushing Reaver is just so good. Like, you can get in there and do damage before the tank count is high, before the turrets are high. Like, if we look at what Terran opened with, he opened with 3 or 4 vultures. I don't even think there's a single tank out. Now, okay, there's a tank out now, but I think Reaver could have been a great opener. There is a building at the bottom side of Motive's base, and those pylons do look like, if they are pylons, they do look like they could be Stargate pylons. But now that I'm looking at it a little bit closer, I think those are actually just Dragoons setting up in position for incoming drop. So he is covering all his bases here. Make sure that game 2 does not repeat and him lose, 20 workers in the blink of an eye. Third Nexus coming down. Saw +1 weapon kicking in for Sharp, or coming in for Sharp. So relatively quick for him. And we've been seeing him go for high factory count before taking a third base. I wonder if he'll go for the same thing this time. Scan goes off. I don't know what he saw, but he really didn't see much. 2 gates, maybe support bay, observatory. That's it. I guess one thing to point out is Protoss still doesn't have their nat gas. That means it can't be carriers and it can't be arbiters. That means it's going to be high gateway high gateway count. And because of that, probably going to be 4 or 5 factory before he takes an expansion. And as I say that, I think the 4th factory just got built. A 5 fact again. Okay. Is it going to be a timing this time? Or is it going to be another command center follow-up? These factories feel quick. I think these are so quick that this is a timing. Shuttle is in the natural, by the way, or it's in another observer. Is it a shuttle or is it an observer? I guess it's an observer. It's too slow for it to be a shuttle. And he is going to see all these factories. And when he sees that the factories are done, I think he's going to know that, again, it's a timing this time. Vulture picks off that probe. I don't know how the pros do it. Like, their vultures are always in the right position. Like, they always intercept the probes. Whenever I play, though, the goons are always in the right position, and I don't get any damage done. I don't understand. Anyways, Observer does confirm the 5 fact. I think Motive needs to put down his Citadel and more gateways. Observer gets taken out, and I really do think that this is for a timing. It's going to be hard to make a timing work because it is cross-spawn, but you can see Sharp cutting workers again, just like he did on Dark Origin. Dark Origin, he did transition into a third base, but I think that's because he took damage on his SCV line and couldn't actually produce units for a while. But with him not taking any damage right now, and him cutting this hard, this feels like a committed move here, like high tank, like, like 12 tanks, and then we're going with +1 weapon. It's hard to make 5 facts work, though. We'll see. Tank count is sitting at 7, 8. I think one more cycle and it's go time for him. And Motive, even though he has 6 gateways or something, it's actually not that many, and I still didn't see a Citadel. Motive going to be taking mid-left. +1 weapon already done for Terran, and Terran is going to be on the move. Citadel just now starting. I think Citadel is like an 80-second upgrade. So he's got about a 1.5-minute window to make this attack work before Zealous can be effective. I love the mines being set up behind the Protoss army. Whoa, did the okay. I thought the Reaver might have died. But ends up still being alive in the shuttle. Now the mines can be key here. Oh, Reaver. Oh, good shots. Takes down one of the tanks. Oh, mines are blowing up on those goons. He gets a couple of them. He also ended up taking down one of the Reavers. Motive needs to buy as much time as possible with this on this attack. You can see he's got a sizable supply lead. It's about 35. I think the Reaver actually died. And that is devastating for Motive. Like you see, he has no speed on his Zealots. His Zealots are almost useless if they don't have speed. But the goon count is still very high. I think shuttle bombing is still viable with the Zealots, but it's going to be very hard to get on top of these tanks with these Goliaths supporting the tanks. Oh no, another big hit there. And these tanks are already on the third base doorstep. There's also a Vulture attempted attack at mid-left. Looks like Goon is set up there, so that's not going to actually work out. But this is a fearsome army for Protoss, or for Terran. Lots of tanks all pumped up though. And if he can get a Reaver in between those tanks, he may be able to blow up all the tanks in an instant. Can he find that sweet spot? I think he can go right now. I think he's got to go. Oh, the tanks unsieged. Now they're sieging up. Reaver unloads. Good pickup. Motive, he's doing it. He's doing really well. Reaver's going to kill those two tanks. All these tanks are going to die. And this was not necessarily a complete fail from Sharp, because I do see he's harassing at mid-left, but he did not get any probe kills. He lost all of his tanks. He got his entire army reset. And Protoss is still finding econ. Like, what did Protoss lose? Some goons and some pylons? I'll take that trade. So overall, this is a good position for Protoss again. And if I'm Sharp, I'm very worried. Sharp, I think, has built either more factories, or he built the starport and science facility. More goons are kind of bleeding off here. A little bit of a misstep. Okay, that's a big misstep, losing 4 goons for free like that. A shuttle is at the bottom side of the map, so he's either going to try to deny the third base or try and get some harassment done. I'm not sure exactly what's floating at mid-right. Okay. Wow, the Reaver died. I guess he wasn't looking for a second. And he is going to take bottom middle as his third base. Meanwhile, Motive, he's got his 4th base completed, doesn't have any probes there, and he's starting to take top right at the same time. His worker count is insane, 71 workers to 48. This is really good for Protoss. I can't even begin to tell you how good this is for Protoss. Just needs to focus on building a big army, getting a big gateway count, and either going arbiters, carriers, or continuing with the Storm, which has done a lot of damage all day long. Dropship heading over to bottom left. Sharp desperately needs to get a lot of damage done to get back into this game. He's down 50 supply, just now getting his 3rd base when Protoss is getting their 5th base. Looks like this cannon may slightly be out of position. May be able to get some damage done with this drop. And there we go. It's the fantasy drop, 1 tank and a Vulture. And it's going to get how many probe kills so far? I think he's just gotten 2. Drop in the main is going to get denied. Another Vulture, or another Dragoon died to a mine. Overall, not a lot of damage done. And I think there's actually a drop at top right also. So the multitask from Sharp, he's really testing Motiv's ability. Drops unloading over there. Another Vulture drop, as you can hear. And tank on the high ground. Gets a goon. This is definitely a worthwhile drop. Oh, and Vulture's at the front. Dude, he's everywhere. He wanted to intercept those probes being transferred to top middle. But instead, these Vultures in the mineral line are just killing everything. Despite all the damage, though, Motive still has a really good worker count. But this is the type of damage that Sharp needs to get back into this game. It's now 190 to 130. Sharp's worker count is still sitting very low at 50. That's a steel wall right there. Lots of Zealots holding the line. And is he really going to get away with this drop? Seems like he's actually going to save it. Zealot's saying, no, you will not leave. And he's saying, yes, I will. Actually manages to make it out. But it's still a maxed army Protoss versus just 120 for Terran. Oh, does he find another opening? How many kills? I guess we didn't get to see. But this, like I said, it's buying time, but I still don't think it's enough. It didn't get Sharp to 4th base. He's still at just 50 probes. He's forcing lost mining time, but mode is maxed out. I guess it does kind of botch Mode's macro a little bit. Like his gateway count is still at like 8, which is not very high at all. I would love to see 4 or 5 more gateways coming down to top right. That would be nice. Another Vulture attack at this 3rd base, but only catches a couple of workers. You see that the tech of choice again is the Storms, as expected. He's looking to get some juicy catches onto these tanks. Zealot's eating a lot of mines, even though there was an observer there. Gotta be careful. But I still think Moda's position is quite good. It is getting a little bit more scary now that Terran is at 160 versus maxed out Protoss army. This pylon, if it dies, could get a couple of ultra kill or probe kills at the top middle base. Start feeling confident about being able to move out. You can see he's slowly leaping towards the right side of the map. He really wants to get that 4th base. This dropship is still moving around trying to find the angle, and it is going to find a drop at top middle on the high ground. Yep, loads up right there. And I'm just gonna watch the probe count. 77 down to 77 down to 77. Didn't really get any probes there. That is a juicy EMP. That is one of the best EMPs you can hit right there. Gets a Templar, gets, what is it, 8 goons and 8 zealots? That is like 1,000 points of damage right there. Unbelievable catch. And this whole group of army gets obliterated immediately. Terran is now technically down 1 supply, but even supply is pretty damn good for Terran, especially since he's down 27 workers. So his army value is huge. His tank count is huge. I think his +2 has kicked in at this point, maybe even +3. Oh, the shuttle does not really unload. The Templars, they all got killed. And Protoss' supply has plummeted. 160 to 140. Sharp, if he just lays a ton of mines here and goes for the throat, he may be able to actually kill the main. More Templars die. Just needs to get all of his tanks together. Oh my gosh, Protoss fell apart. The drops drew the attention, you know, of Protoss away from their build order. The macro kind of slipped. You can see he's floating 3K, 1K. His units were out of position. He ate a massive EMP. And now Sharp is on the brink of killing this natural, on the brink of knocking down top middle, on the brink of killing mid right. This is a complete swing in Terran's favor. The D-Matrix tank soaks up so many hits. Oh my gosh, all these goons are gonna die. The meat grinder, man. Motive is still not out of it just yet, though. He still has a lot of econ, but this is gonna be a big swing in Terran's favor. Tank is set up. Look how many juicy probes there are. Oh, that shuttle got taken down. We don't even know what was in that shuttle. If it's Zealots, the Zealots aren't going to save the day. The mid-left is still running for Protoss, but look at Protoss supply. It's now down to 128 versus 150. These probes are getting ransacked. This Nexus is dead. What was 75 probes a minute ago is 51. Terran is trying to retreat with some of these tanks. Good EMP, can't even storm. Oh, this is a clinic from Sharp, showing why he's so good and why his multitask is top-notch. Now those tanks moving over towards top middle to finish the job on that Nexus. 2-1 upgrades have kicked in. Massive gas bank for Sharp. He can build tanks for days. Just needs to get a command center at mid-right, and then he'll be on 4 base versus the 4 base of Protoss. This is a dead Nexus. What can Motive do at this point? He's going to try and counter. He can't engage this army. There's no way. But there's a couple of tanks here. There's a lot of mines here. Mines deal a lot of damage. Motive is going to be kicking himself for this. He was in a really good spot with all these bases, but he just fell apart. Now he's on like 1.5 base mining because I see those probes at top right. Like there's not very many at all. Only real base that is saturated is his mid-left base, and his natural's basically mined out. So this could be the beginning of the end. There is just an unreal amount of tanks. Motive, he's got to get out now. He can't wait for the tank count to get any higher. And maybe he can try and shuttle some units over to the right side. This mid-left base is dead, and this is where a lot of his probes are. Can he save any of them? I guess the answer is no. Oh, wow, and Sharp even has the middle. I didn't even realize he had taken the middle. So a low worker count game from Sharp, but a massive army. Just, it's too much for Motive to overcome. This is most likely going to be the final engagement. Look how many tanks there are. Shuttle gets immediately blown up. EMP hits like 3 Templars. There is so many tanks, so many Vultures, not very many Zealots. It's almost like Goon Templar only. The Zealots on the left side are just going to bleed out. You hear a lot of scans going down. I think he's trying to determine how much or what's coming from the left side. What does he need to focus down? Actually, the Storms and Goons have done really well. They whittled down a lot of the tanks, but 6 tanks remain, and that's it. Motive, he calls it, and Sharp, he gets redemption from game 1. So Sharp, when it mattered, pulls out the victories in game 2 and 3. I feel a little bit bad for Motive because he played well all day long, especially game 1 in the first game of the day, and of course the first series or first match versus Sharp. He also played well versus Shine too, right? Like there's a real chance that Motive could have gotten out in first place, and instead he ends up being eliminated. But that does give us, as you can see, our rundown today. Motive beats Sharp, Shine beats KOP, Shine gets out in first, Sharp beats KOP, and then Sharp makes it out in second place. Well done to Sharp and Shine today. If we can get a look at, I'm guessing, the remaining groups, or maybe remaining... Actually, I don't think we have the remaining groups. I think that's just our final screen. So that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. And again, tournaments like this can't happen with your continued support of StarCastTV. So if you enjoy the games from either this season or ASL or other matches, definitely consider becoming a Patreon supporter. It's StarCastTV on Patreon, or you can support by becoming a YouTube donator. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll be back with Group C in the near future.